Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. Who said villains must follow the script? Chapter 41. After giving away the exercises, Zhang Feng gave Yi Yaoer the 5th level defensive Lingbao Wushang Jade bracelet, and finally succeeded in raising Yi Yaoer's favorability to 60 points. This spiritual treasure can withstand a full-strength blow from a cultivator in the transformation stage, but it is a bit tasteless to Zhang Feng. With the system in place, why can't he get any spiritual treasure? Zhang Feng also didn't expect that Yaoer would be so touched after he gave him the exercises and Lingbao, as if he wanted to pounce on him and eat him. Fortunately, he escaped in time. Remembering that Master's critical strike return reward had also finished cooling down, Zhang Feng took another look, but the film was still firmly blocking it. So, he had to give up. Master, this disciple has gone out to practice, and he will definitely come back before the Daotian secret realm opens. After leaving such a sentence at the gate of Jizuyu's cave, Zhang Feng went directly to the main peak, where there is a special place for dispatching sect missions, Mission Hall. In the past 3 years, Zhang Feng rarely left the sect. The main reason is that he only had the strength in the Qi training stage before, and he was worried about being beaten to death, but now he is a monk in the alchemy stage, so he can finally go out and experience it. As soon as he arrived at the mission hall on the main peak, Zhang Feng faintly felt something was wrong. It's so lively. The entire hall was full of voices, as if they were discussing something. As soon as Zhang Feng appeared, he immediately attracted the attention of many people, and the whole hall could hear needles falling. Zhang Feng, senior brother Zhang Feng is here. Great, now there is finally someone for the Heihuan sect mission. Junior brother Zhang, come here quickly, there is a task, I believe you will be interested in it. And the reward for this task is definitely not low. A man with a simple and honest appearance waved to Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng was dumbfounded. The person waving at him seems to be senior brother Niyun from Misty Peak, right? It is said that he has already reached the realm of the 6th heaven of alchemy, so how could he be so enthusiastic about him, a junior who has just stepped into the realm of alchemy? If there is nothing tricky, he wouldn't believe it if he was killed. However, Zhang Feng walked over quickly when he heard that there was a task with a good reward. Absolutely not because of the words, Acacia sect. He, Zhang Feng, is a gentleman. For an evil sect like the Heihuan sect, it is absolutely necessary to severely criticize it. Of course, if Hu was accidentally sacrificed in order to complete the mission of the Heihuan sect, that would be justifiable. Zhang Feng walked around Niyun, and said directly, Senior brother Niyun, I don't know the details of this mission, can you tell me about it, so I can do what I can? If the mission is too dangerous, then he will not go. It's easy. Seeing that Zhang Feng was really interested in the mission, Niyun was immediately overjoyed. Junior brother Zhang, this task requires cultivation at the alchemy stage to accept it. The only ones who are willing to accept the task now are me and you. Junior brother Zhang must have heard just now that the mission is related to the Heihuan sect. A few days ago, a disciple of our sect happened to pass by a brothel run by the Heihuan sect when he was out training, and found out that someone secretly gave a spirit treasure to the old bastard in the brothel. After that, many of the guests who went to that brothel became worse day by day, and some of their young energy was even sucked dry, and finally died in their own homes. Speaking of this, Niyun's tone was a little low. Our mission goal is to find and destroy that spirit treasure. Zhang Feng was shocked. Brother, you don't need to say any more. I have made up my mind. I, Zhang Feng, must go to this task. Zhang Feng held Niyun's hand tightly and said, his eyes full of righteousness and dignity. My generation of monks should straighten the way. Brother, good job. I, Niyun, saw you right. Niyun nodded in satisfaction. By the way, that old bastard's cultivation should be in the nascent soul realm. As soon as the words fell, Zhang Feng turned his head and left. Excuse me. However, Niyun held onto Zhang Feng's clothes firmly, and said, Junior brother, this task is really important, and the reward will allow us to enter the sword mound and choose a spirit sword at will. Not interested in. Zhang Feng patted Niyun's hand away without hesitation. No matter how good the reward is, you have to live to receive it. He is a monk who has just entered the realm of alchemy, facing a member of the demon cult who is in the realm of nascent soul. Wouldn't it be a big loss if he accidentally belched? What's more, there are still a few younger sisters who can beat beep, beep, at home to raise. Seeing that Zhang Feng refused to eat, Niyun had no choice. He sighed to himself. Unfortunately, it is said that the demon girl from the Heihuan sect is currently sitting in that brothel. If junior brother Zhang Feng doesn't go, it seems that I won't have a chance to see her. If you say this, I won't be sleepy anymore. Zhang Feng regained his energy immediately, and turned around, with a sense of mission on his handsome face. He asked with some reproach, "Senior brother Niyun, why didn't you say this earlier?" The demon girl appears. We, as authentic disciples of the famous sect, should take the lead in the charge. Quote. The witch of the Heihuan sect that Niyun was talking about was not simple. Zhang Feng clearly remembered that although this demon girl from the Heihuan sect was young, her figure was quite outrageous. Especially the red gauze dress she likes to wear, which is pure and at the same time has endless charm. When he was playing the game, he was severely criticized. When Niyun saw Zhang Feng changing his face repeatedly, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and he really wanted to roll his eyes. It seems that this junior brother is really a kindred spirit. The younger brother won't go back on his word, will he? Of course not. Then the two of us, let's go to the elders of the sect to take over the task. Niyun took Zhang Feng to the task hall where he received the task, and then he took over the task from the Heihuan sect. He was finally relieved. The reason why he accepted such a difficult task was because he liked the reward that he could choose a spirit sword from the sword mound at will. Now I can finally do this task. As soon as the two of them accepted this task, there was a lot of admiration around them. Senior brother Niyun and Zhang Feng are really role models for my generation. Yeah, I can take on such a dangerous mission without hesitation. If it were me, I would definitely not take on such a mission. Senior brothers, you must come back alive. Some of the female disciples showed a look of despair. Their junior brother Zhang Feng was about to complete this dangerous task, and he might never return. Brother Zhang, sister gave you a defensive spirit treasure, you must protect yourself. A female cultivator with a better face solemnly handed over a third order lingbao to Zhang Feng's hands. Her bright eyes were full of affection. I'll go. Isn't that senior sister Zhang Ling from Vulture Peak? To be spotted by such a beautiful senior sister, isn't Zhang Feng lucky? Please, junior brother Zhang Feng, leave some soup for the senior brothers. All the male cultivators present complained. At this time, another female cultivator, who looked no more than a teenager, approached Zhang Feng with blushing cheeks, and handed him a talisman. Brother Zhang Feng, this is the magic talisman I obtained at Daoshuan Peak. It can bring good luck and avoid bad luck. Seeing more and more people sending things, Zhang Feng felt a little headache. Being handsome is also a kind of trouble. If someone knew what was going on in his heart, they probably wanted to slap him to death. Get cheap and sell well. Junior brother Zhang Feng, you should go back and make some preparations. We will gather at the mountain gate tomorrow morning. After leaving the mission hall, Niyun patted Zhang Feng on the shoulder and said. To be honest, he was also very envious of Zhang Feng having so many female cultivators who liked him, but such a thing as good looks couldn't be forced, especially someone as handsome as Zhang Feng. It's too shocking. Zhang Feng naturally didn't know what Niyun was thinking, so he just nodded slightly. Senior brother Ni, I will come over as soon as possible tomorrow morning. He has already made a plan in his heart. After returning, he will swallow the 9-turn nirvana pill as soon as possible, so as not to be hindered by his poor strength. After bidding farewell to Niyun, Zhang Feng did not go back directly to Zizhu Peak, but flew towards the Lingsao Hall. Enter the Lingsao Hall. The person who received Zhang Feng was actually the disciple who helped Luo Tian back then, but this disciple didn't listen to Luo Tian's words at the beginning. So Zhang Feng had a pretty good impression of him. Senior brother Zhang, you are here. After the disciple saw Zhang Feng, a flattering smile appeared on his face. If you need any spiritual grass or fruit, I will help you find it right away. Lingshu fruit and Xingluo berry, give me 100 of each. After hearing Zhang Feng's request, the disciple was stunned. Isn't this master too arrogant? A piece of Lingshu fruit costs 120 contribution points, and a piece of Xingluo berry costs contribution points. If there are pieces of each kind, it will cost contribution points. Even if Zhang Feng can afford it, he doesn't have so many here. Senior brother Zhang Feng, the Lingshu fruit is still there, but the Xingluo berry is indeed gone, look. The disciple carefully looked at Zhang Feng's face. Then give me 100 spirit void fruits. Zhang Feng was not angry at all, and with a big wave of his hand, the disciple's token was thrown to the disciple. Soon, after deducting 1 contribution points, 100 spirit void fruits were delivered to Zhang Feng, and he collected them in the interspatial ring. These spiritual fruits are all prepared to be left to the little fox as rations. Back at Zizhu Peak, Zhang Feng went straight into his room. Seeing the little fox lying comfortably on his bed, Zhang Feng was a little speechless, grabbed it by the neck, and then lifted it up and placed it on the table. Squeaky. The little fox who was woken up stared angrily into his big purple eyes. Zhang Feng comforted. Don't make trouble, I will sleep with you later, I have something to do. After the little fox heard it, although he didn't yell anymore, he turned his head away and stopped looking at Zhang Feng, obviously sulking. Isn't this little fox's temper too weird? Zhang Feng shook his head and smiled wryly, and conveniently put a lingshu fruit on the table. Be obedient, eat this, Zhang Feng said immediately, break through early, and then transform into a human form. Then you can sleep in my bed as you want. What greeted him was the white eyes of the little fox. Zhang Feng said no more, and sat up cross-legged on the bed. Then, without further ado, he took out the critical strike reward that he had received from Xiao Yuro earlier, the 9 Revolutions Nirvana pill, and swallowed it directly. It didn't take long for Zhang Feng to feel the burning fire burning his body. The temperature of the whole body is rising rapidly. 9 turn Nirvana pill, so terrifying. The little fox at the side saw Zhang Feng's painful face, and his whole body's skin turned red, and his big eyes looked at him uneasily. After half an hour, a golden light appeared in Zhang Feng's dantian. This was the evolution of the spiritual root, crazily devouring the surrounding spiritual power, and all the spiritual power of the Daoshan sword sect poured towards him. For a while, many elders and peak masters were alarmed. It's just that when they realized that it was the commotion from Zizhu Peak, none of them said anything more. After all, Ji Ziyu was in the Daoshan sword sect, but no one would dare to mess with her. Inside Ji Ziyu's cave, the girl on the bed opened her eyes directly penetrated through many obstacles, and she saw Zhang Feng, whose spiritual root was evolving, with a bit of surprise on his delicate face. When will this guy die? Ji Ziyu clearly remembered that when she saw Zhang Feng for the first time, the word, death, was all over his body, and it hasn't changed even now. It's just that Zhang Feng seems to be getting harder and harder to die now. The screen turns. Zhang Feng sat cross-legged on the bed. After a large amount of spiritual power poured into his body, the spiritual roots in his body became as transparent as crystals. Looking at the spiritual root in the dantian, Zhang Feng was a little surprised. Could this be the legendary ethereal root? The ethereal root, also known as the non-attribute spiritual root, is a kind of spiritual root between the heavenly root and the fairy root. There was once an ancient supreme realm powerhouse who possessed the ethereal root. However, since thousands of years, this kind of spiritual root has never appeared again. It's okay, so. Zhang Feng nodded nonchalantly. If other monks knew his attitude, they would probably vomit blood with anger. That is the legendary ethereal root. Zhang Feng with the Congoling root, even if he doesn't practice, the spiritual energy will continue to pour into his body. This is the great benefit brought by the Congoling root. From now on, he can really lie flat and upgrade. After the spirit root was upgraded to the ethereal spirit root, the aura in Zhang Feng's body also rose steadily under the feedback of the spirit root. Alchemy formation triple heaven. Formation of the 4 heavens of alchemy. 7th heaven of pill formation. In the end, his cultivation was stabilized at the realm of the 7th layer of pill formation, even 1 layer higher than Niyun of Misty Peak. Opening his eyes, Zhang Feng saw a pair of big purple eyes looking at him. However, when his gaze landed on the spiritual fruit on the table, his face darkened instantly. This little guy actually refused to eat the spiritual fruit he gave. This is not allowed. He is still waiting for the little fox to transform into form. Zhang Feng got out of bed, grabbed the thick and long lingshu fruit, and stuffed it into the little fox's mouth. As you can imagine, the little fox still refused to eat. Zhang Feng thought for a while, this is not the way to go, we must have a strategy. So, he found a black ribbon, covered the little fox's eyes, and said softly, "Be obedient, open your mouth obediently." This time, it was finally a success. Zhang Feng was feeding, but there was a knock on the door. "Brother, can we come in?" At this time, it was his two junior sisters who appeared outside Zhang Feng's room. Sensing the movement on Zhang Feng's side, Xiao Yuro and Yi Yaoer couldn't sit still. They were all worried about what happened to Zhang Feng. Therefore, both of them stopped their cultivation almost at the same time, and came to Zhang Feng together. Zhang Feng heard his junior sister's voice and responded, "Of course, come in." The door was opened from the outside. The two junior sisters walked into the room one after the other. "Brother, are you all right?" Xiao Yuro was the first to ask, with worry in her beautiful eyes. Of course Zhang Feng knew what Xiao Yuro was talking about, shook his head and said, "It's okay, I broke through in cultivation just now, a little movement is normal." "Brother, what are you doing?" At this moment, Yi Yaoer immediately saw the blindfolded little fox on the table and the long strip-shaped spiritual fruit in Zhang Feng's hand, and asked a little strangely. A pair of big smart eyes blinked and blinked, seeming to be full of curiosity. "Junior sister, don't make trouble, I'm feeding you." A smile flashed across Zhang Feng's handsome face, and he explained calmly. "This little fox's current strength is at the level of the 9 heavens of alchemy formation. As long as it reaches the nascent soul level, it can be transformed into a human form. Then you can play together." Transfiguration. Xiao Yuro and Yi Yaoer looked at each other, and the two quickly thought of something. In the end, Yi Yaoer was the first to ask, "Brother, is this little fox a male or a female?" "Female," Zhang Feng replied casually. As soon as the words fell, Zhang Feng felt a sour smell in the air, and the expressions of the two junior sisters were extremely consistent, and the brilliance was lost in their eyes. What Xiao Yuro thought in her heart was, "Senior brother treats this little fox so well now, so how can he be better after the transformation?" But what Yi Yaoer thought was, "The little foxes have been fed by the seniors. I am obviously the junior sister, and I have never been treated like this before. How angry. They also want to be fed by their seniors." Zhang Feng naturally didn't know what the two junior sisters were thinking. He just said to himself, "Junior sister Yuro, junior sister Yaoer, senior brother will be going away tomorrow, but he will definitely come back before the Daotian's secret realm opens. During this time, the little fox will be taken care of by you. Going out tomorrow." Xiao Yuro and Yi Yaoer's heart tightened almost at the same time. Zhang Feng nodded calmly and said, "Yes, I have accepted a mission in the mission hall, and I should be able to come back before the Daotian's secret realm opens." "Brother, there is no danger, right?" Xiao Yuro leaned over, her pair clinging softly to Zhang Feng's arms, raised her watery eyes, and looked worriedly at Zhang Feng in front of her. "Of course not," Zhang Feng responded with a relaxed expression. It's just that his eyes looked twice more at Xiao Yuro's gully. On the other side, Yi Yaoer also leaned over, not to be outdone, and hugged Zhang Feng's other arm tightly. However, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't squeeze out a single gap. Zhang Feng was a little ashamed. He broke free from the pincer attack of his junior sisters, and said solemnly, "Okay, don't make trouble. Junior sister Yuro, during this period of time, you should properly integrate the two different fires in your body. When the Daotian secret realm is opened, the senior brother hopes that you can reach the alchemy stage. Is it okay?" "Well, it's sure to be fine," Xiao Yuro responded confidently. "There is also junior sister Yaoer. Senior brother knows that the inner demons in your body are hard to suppress. You must be calm during this time, stay at home obediently and don't go out, and don't get into disputes with others." Yaoer understands. After confessing to the two junior sisters, no matter how reluctant they were, Zhang Feng also drove them out. "Cultivate well, and ask me if you don't understand." The two women reluctantly left Zhang Feng's room, and then returned to their residence, but this time they walked side by side. "Junior sister, what do you think of that little fox?" "What do you mean, sister?" Xiao Yuro gritted her silver teeth and waved her small fists, but looked at Yi Yaoer very seriously. "Third junior sister, I don't believe you don't understand. The little fox is obviously just a brother's spiritual pet, but the treatment just now made even my senior sister envious. Don't you have any ideas?" Yi Yaoer lowered her head. "But, there is nothing we can do." who makes it the brother's spiritual pet. No, we unite. Yi Yaoer was stunned for a while, and then she came to her senses, a light burst out from her nimble eyes. Well, I listened to my senior sister. The next day, Zhang Feng got up early, got dressed and was ready to go out. As for the little fox, he has already left enough food in the room, enough to support him until he completes the task and returns to the sect. As soon as he opened the door, Zhang Feng froze. You are this. I saw Xiao Yuro and Yi Yaoer had already been waiting outside the door. The two women were holding large and small bags in their hands. Those who didn't know it thought they were going to travel far away. Brother, this is the food I prepared myself, you can take it on the road and eat it. Xiao Yuro handed a box to Zhang Feng, her eyes full of anticipation. Praise me, praise me, praise me. Zhang Feng opened the box and saw that the food inside was a few pieces of dry pancakes, which must have been burned, but maybe they can still be eaten, right? Junior sister Yuro, thank you. Senior brother, I am very happy. Zhang Feng said something against his will with a distorted face, but he sighed in his heart, let's eat it on the way, it's a pity to throw it away. Yuro is very happy to be able to make food for senior brother with her own hands. After hearing Zhang Feng's compliment, Xiao Yuro said shyly. Brother, Yaoer did this. Not to be outdone, Yi Yaoer took out the food she made. On the delicate box, there was also a picture of a little rabbit drawn on it. Wouldn't it be dark cuisine again? Zhang Feng murmured in his heart. However, when he opened it, his eyes lit up. Inside the small box, 10 exquisite and small rice balls were neatly placed, and each rice ball was deliberately made into the shape of a bunny. It's so cute. That's right, junior sister Yaoer, senior brother likes it very much. Zhang Feng inadvertently showed a warm smile and nodded slightly. The 2 portions of food were put into the interspatial ring by him, which were carefully prepared by the 2 junior sisters, and he wanted to save them to eat slowly on the road. Habitually touching the little heads of the 2 junior sisters, Zhang Feng unleashed his spirit sword and stepped on it. I'm leaving, you two must remember what your brother said. Goodbye, brother. After watching Zhang Feng leave, Xiao Yuro and Yi Yaoer looked at each other, and then all eyes fell on Zhang Feng's door, and there seemed to be some plan in their eyes. The other side, Zhang Feng controlled the flying sword and soon arrived at the gate of the sect. Under the giant sword, a figure was waiting there early, pacing around anxiously. It was senior brother Ni Yun from Misty Peak. Senior brother Ni. After Zhang Feng landed, he greeted him directly. Junior brother Zhang Feng, I'm looking forward to you. Ni Yun seemed to have waited for a long time, and said with some annoyance, Junior brother Zhang, I forgot to tell you yesterday that besides the 2 of us, there will be several other sects and people from the court to help with this mission. Let's set off quickly and try to join them within 2 days. Zhang Feng, how many other sects? It's too late to explain, let's talk about it on the way. Ni Yun looked very anxious, and directly sacrificed a 5-meter flying boat in front of Zhang Feng. After he boarded the flying boat, he waved to Zhang Feng again. Junior brother Zhang, come up quickly. After Ni Yun stood on the flying boat, his face was somewhat smug. This flying boat was an extremely fast-tier flying boat that he spent contribution points in exchange for. He believed that the flying boat at this price was enough to show off in front of Zhang Feng. However, Zhang Feng had a strange expression on his face. Next second, a 10-meter-long flying boat just appeared in front of Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng, brother, your journey is a bit slow, so use mine. Ni Yun, Lingzhong City. The city is said to have a history of tens of thousands of years. As a large city with a long history, Lingzhong City is full of fish and dragons. Whether it is a monk of the righteous way or a monk of the demon cult, they can walk around in the city at will. There are monks from the Great Xia dynasty in the city who are responsible for maintaining order. Even if the monks of the righteous and evil ways meet, they cannot fight at will. Zhang Feng and Ni Yun, who had a 5th-order flying boat, finally arrived at Lingzhong City before sunset the next day, and then led by Ni Yun to a luxurious mansion. Junior brother Zhang, this is the place where several sects meet, let's go in. Ni Yun stopped in front of the gate, and then knocked on the gate. After the door opened, a man who looked like a servant leaned out and asked, May I ask who you 2 are? Daotian Sword Sect. It turns out to be the 2 immortals of Daotian Sword Sect, please come in. Zhang Feng followed closely behind Niyun, admiring the scenery in the yard quite comfortably, thinking about how much this house would cost to buy. Soon, they were brought into a hall. At this time, there were already 5 people sitting in the hall, 3 men and 2 women. The clothes on them seemed familiar to Zhang Feng, and they should have been seen in the game in the previous life. Seeing 2 people come in, a man in brocade clothes stood up. The 2 are fellow Taoists of the Daoshan sword sect, right? Niyun clasped his fists and said, "Exactly, I'm next to Niyun, next to me is my junior brother Zhang Feng." "Then sit down first. People from the other sects have already arrived, so you are the only one left," the man in brocade clothes said with a smile, with a vague aura of a strong man on his body. Zhang Feng and the 2 nodded, and found a place to sit down one after another. Sitting opposite Zhang Feng was a plump and beautiful woman who was looking at Zhang Feng with a smile. Her eyes seemed provocative. So big, so white. Although Zhang Feng is young and energetic, he can manage it. After all, there are 2 junior sisters who are like celestial beings at home. What kind of beauty has never been seen? Let me introduce myself first. I am Shangwang Zhou, the representative of the Imperial Court for this mission. Cultivated as nascent soul first layer. As soon as these words came out, everyone's faces were filled with joy. With such a strong backing, their success rate in this mission is definitely not low. Even just going through the motions, maybe the task will be easily completed. Introduce yourself, everyone. With Zhou Xing taking the lead, everyone present introduced themselves one after another. The beautiful woman who had winked at Zhang Feng just now stood up first, bowed slightly, and her full chest was pressed down heavily, forming a deep gully. "I am the elder of Tianan Valley, Bai Jia. Fellow Taoists, this concubine is being polite." Everyone hurriedly returned the salute, except for the remaining female cultivator. Most of their eyes stayed on the gully on her chest, and their eyes widened. "No way, man." Cough cough. Zhou Xing coughed lightly, pulling everyone's thoughts back. "Fellow Taoist Bai Jia, you really have a big heart, please sit down first." Immediately afterwards, another brawny man with a bare upper body and bulging muscles stood up. Elephant Armor Sect, Chen Tishan. Although this Elephant Armor Sect belonged to the kind of sect that didn't cause much trouble in the Great Xia dynasty, it was considered a top-notch sect, and few people dared to provoke them. The people in this sect all practice some body training techniques. All of them are muscular, and because of the body training, their tempers tend to be irritable. Chen Tishan is already the kindest elder that can be sent by this sect. Although his cultivation is only at the level of the 3rd heaven of alchemy formation, his combat power is definitely not low, and no one dares to underestimate him. "I am born in Shanjian Pavilion, Feng Shanyan, and I have met all fellow Taoists." The remaining female cultivator was also a beautiful woman. When she stood up and saluted everyone, the waves on her chest were ready to come out. Moreover, this woman dresses extremely boldly. Zhang Feng stood up a little, and he was able to have a glimpse of the scenery. The perfect outline, exaggerated and full, feasted his eyes. She is simply too big. Zhang Feng felt that if the female disciple of the Heihuan sect dressed like this to seduce him, there was a high probability that he would not be able to control it. He took a few more glances and criticized severely in his heart. This Shanjian Pavilion is the same as the previous 2 sects. Although it belongs to a first-class sect, it is still weaker than the 3 top sects of the Great Xia dynasty. There were 7 people in the hall. Besides Zhang Feng, Niyun, and the 4 people who introduced themselves just now, there was another person who was holding a sword and sitting in the corner. Seeing everyone looking over, he said flatly, "Xiaoyao Palace, Song Ke." Although this person's cultivation is not as good as that of King Shang, he also has the realm of forming the 9 heavens of alchemy. He is definitely one of the most powerful people besides King Shang. "Everyone, since everyone has arrived, let's set off now." The brothel run by the Acacia sect is located in this Lingjiang city. According to information, in addition to the old bastard in the nascent soul stage, there are 4 demon cultivators in the alchemy realm sitting in the brothel. "Leave that bastard to me, and leave the others to you. Our goal is to destroy that Lingbao. Fellow Taoists who destroy Lingbao, our imperial court will reward 3 Xuanyu fruits. Send people to the sect personally. In addition, every time you kill a demon cultivator at the alchemy stage, you will be rewarded with an extra black jade fruit." Zan Yuguo. Everyone present stood up in surprise. This Xuanyu fruit is a special spiritual fruit of the Great Xia dynasty. It grows on the ancient Xuanyu tree, and it bears fruit only once every 100 years. Each spiritual fruit belongs to the fifth order spiritual fruit. Is King Zheng's statement true? The elder Bai Jia from Tianan Valley also put away his previous seductive gesture at this time, and asked seriously. Really? King Shang laughed. All the people present showed joy. After all, Zan Yuguo is a fifth order spiritual fruit, not a high-end product. Even if you only eat one, it can definitely be worth years of hard work. Even Zhang Feng smacked his tongue secretly. This imperial court is really generous. One must know that the spirit void fruit he had exchanged in the sect before was only a first-order spirit fruit. King Shang Zhou Xing stopped talking and walked out of the hall first. Seeing this, everyone followed. Just as he was about to walk out of the gate, King Shang in front stopped. Zhang Feng also stopped. As a result, as soon as he stopped, he felt hit by something soft on his back. From the corner of the eye, it was the elder Bai Jia from Tianan Valley who dribbled the ball into someone, and saw her twisting her waist, her beautiful eyes flirting secretly. Oh, fellow Taoist Zhang, I'm really sorry. The concubine walked away in a hurry just now. It was definitely not on purpose. It's okay, Zhang Feng said indifferently. Elder Bai Jia in Tianan Valley is definitely not simple. However, when he was playing games in his previous life, he had never seen this beautiful woman. On the contrary, the female disciples of the Heihuan sect had suffered a lot from Zhang Feng in the game. At this time, King Shang, who had just stopped walking, said to the crowd, "Everyone, that brothel is not far from here. Before that, I personally suggest that you make it easy." As soon as this remark came out, everyone present was deeply convinced. The task they have to do is almost equivalent to destroying an industry of the Acacia sect. If it is not easy to tolerate, they may be retaliated by the Acacia sect in the future, and the loss outweighs the gain. All the people present are more or less familiar with disguise. Even Zhang Feng, during those 3 years, focused on learning the art of disguise. It didn't take long for everyone to change their appearance. In the central area of Lingjiang City, there is a brothel called Heaven and Earth. And this brothel is the industry run by Huanzong, and it is also the goal of Zhang Feng's trip. At this time, in Lingjiang City, a piece of news spread like a plague, spreading throughout the streets and alleys, and even the scholars who usually did not leave their doors heard the news. Hey, have you heard? That Oran from Heaven and Earth is going to pick up guests tonight. Hiss, really, don't you lie to me. Why lie to you? I'm definitely going tonight. That Oran's figure is simply too hot. Needless to say, she must be a big beauty. But, didn't it come out 2 days ago that people died in the sky and on Earth? Cut. Do you believe this? There must be a rumor. Do you want to go or not? At the same time, among Heaven and Earth, a graceful figure was sitting in front of the vanity mirror, letting the old woman behind her do her makeup. The image of a woman appeared in the mirror. Her eyebrows and eyes are picturesque, her skin is like creamy fat, her shoulders are shaved, her skin is as white and delicate as suet jade, with a kind of crystal luster. She is simply a stunner in the world. Dressed in red, it set off the woman like a fairy in the world, refined and refined. If Zhang Feng were here, he would definitely be able to recognize that this beautiful woman was the saint of Heihuan sect, Lu Xuanxuan. Xuanxuan, tonight is the most important moment for you. Don't let the suzerain disappoint you. You have to pass this hurdle in order to practice the dragon drawing water technique. I chose it for you, but it is a male cultivator with a very strong yang energy, and his appearance is definitely worthy of you. The old woman behind her, while helping Lu Xuanxuan with her makeup, gave her earnest instructions. Lu Xuanxuan, as the saintess of the Heihuan sect, has maintained a perfect body until now. However, if she practiced the sect's kung fu dragon drawing water, if she did not break her body, it would be difficult for her to make further progress in her cultivation. Du Ru, who watched Lu Xuanxuan grow up since she was a child, not only specially invited sacred objects from the sect and gave them to Lu Xuanxuan to use, but also personally found a male cultivator with both cultivation base and appearance for her to absorb yang qi. Aunt Ru, stop talking and let me be quiet for a while, please. Hearing the old woman's words, Lu Xuanxuan's body trembled slightly, and tears rolled down her pretty cheeks. She didn't want anything to happen with a strange man at all. However, as the saint of the sect, she simply cannot tolerate her rejection. Xuanxuan, it's okay, Aunt Ru, I have experienced it before, and it will pass soon. When Du Ru saw Lu Xuanxuan crying, her heart ached. She naturally knew that this girl whom she brought up since she was a child yearned for an ordinary relationship with lovers. But fate was like this, and she couldn't help it. Xuanxuan, don't cry, you will lose your makeup if you cry again. Du Ru comforted softly. Ah, everyone, there is heaven and earth in front of you. King Shang Zhou Xing led the other 6 people, a total of 7 immortal cultivators, walking on the street. Wherever they go, there will be people secretly watching them. Those men's eyes were basically on Bai Jia and Feng Shanyan. The two of them were too hot. How could they be seen in normal times? The eyes of the women were mostly on Zhang Feng's handsome face. No way, even if they have changed a lot of appearance, their temperament cannot be concealed, not to mention that as handsome guys and beautiful women, they naturally don't want to make themselves too ugly. Let's act separately, don't get together, 2 Taoist friends of Daotian sword sect, you go in first, and we will go in batches. King Shang said. Zhang Feng and Ni Yun looked at each other and nodded towards King Shang. In that case, let's go first. After all, Zhang Feng and Ni Yun walked side by side into the brothel in front of them with the signboard, Heaven and Earth. As soon as he entered the brothel, several women in quite enchanting clothes walked over with their waists twisted, and one of them smiled coquettishly and said, "Oh, you two are so handsome, please come this way." While speaking, 2 women had already approached, grabbed Zhang Feng's and Ni Yun's arms respectively, and dragged them forward, barely allowing the 2 of them to refuse. Presumptuous, junior brother Zhang, we. Ni Yun frowned, turned to look at Zhang Feng, but was stunned. I saw that Zhang Feng let the woman hold his arm, and even pulled out his other hand to touch the plump pair, which made the brothel woman smile coquettishly. Hearing Ni Yun's shout, Zhang Feng raised his head. Senior brother Ni, what's wrong? Ni Yun, it's nothing, junior brother, put it away. Unexpectedly, junior brother Zhang Feng, who is usually handsome, has such a side. Ni Yun felt that his brain was not enough. However, it is easier to integrate into this place only like junior brother Zhang, right? Thinking of this, Ni Yun no longer hesitated, imitating Zhang Feng, unceremoniously attacking the plump couple who came together, all for the sake of completing the mission of the sect. Don't say it, it's really soft. Soon, the 2 were invited to the 2nd floor. The field of view here is wide, but you can see a lot of things clearly. King Shang and others who came with them also walked in one after another. Zhang Feng and Ni Yun were drinking while waiting for the Oran to appear. At that time, it will be the best time to find that spirit treasure. After half an hour, many guests were getting impatient with the wait. What's going on? Why hasn't Miss Xuanxuan appeared yet? That's right, my brothers came all the way here by boat just for Miss Xuanxuan. If Miss Xuanxuan doesn't come out again, we will smash this store. RNM. Refund. Just when the guests in the brothel were about to riot, a seductive voice came from the 3rd floor, and everyone couldn't help casting their gazes over. Oh, so many people like me, I feel very honored. What came into view was a veiled woman wearing a red gauze dress, with a gorgeous appearance and an even more enchanting figure. It was Lu Xuanxuan who had finished her makeup. Miss Xuanxuan, we love you. Great, I finally met Miss Xuanxuan, she is as beautiful as the rumors say, my young master really deserved this trip. There is such a fairy-like person in this world. If you can kiss fangs, this life will be worth it. As for the protagonist Lu Xuanxuan, her eyes are lonely at this moment, she doesn't know what she is thinking. Seeing this, Du Ru took over the conversation and announced a big news to the guests present. Everyone, it's the first time for Miss Xuanxuan to pick up guests today. Whoever pays the most money will be able to spend the spring night with Miss Xuanxuan. Whoa, although they had heard about it a long time ago, most people thought that it was just a rumor. After all, Miss Xuanxuan, who was the number 1, had always been a showman rather than a person. However, hearing these words from the old woman's mouth, all the male guests present were inexplicably excited. Even Zhang Feng, who was immersed in the wine, was a little moved. After all, he knew that Lu Xuanxuan's appearance ranked among the top 10 in the entire game. What a goblin! And he didn't expect that Lu Xuanxuan at this time was actually a big girl. I'll give you 3,000 yuan of spirit stones. 3,000 yuan Lingxi, is there a higher one? 5,000. I'll give you 5,000 yuan of spirit stones. A chubby monk opened his mouth and said, as long as I can discuss the Tao with Miss Xuanxuan, my life, Mr. Zhao, is worth it. 1 yuan in spirit stones. In a few breaths, the price was raised to spirit stones. Even Zhang Feng, who was watching the play silently, smacked his tongue secretly. Spirit stones can buy a good third-order spirit treasure, and someone actually spent so many spirit stones just to satisfy their own desires. And among them, there are many righteous people. He, Zhang Feng, is ashamed to be with him. Looking away, Zhang Feng looked at Niyun on the other side, and said calmly, Senior brother Niyun, do you have a spirit stone with you? I forgot to bring it when I went out. Junior brother, don't you want to? Ahem. Zhang Feng coughed lightly. Senior brother Ni, do you think I look like that kind of person? Picture. Since Niyun didn't borrow any spirit stones, Zhang Feng knew that he had no chance. He felt a little pity in his heart, because he would have borrowed some spirit stones from his master earlier to use them. He knew that although Ji Ziyu rarely spent money, she was secretly a little rich woman. 50,000 spirit stones. This fellow Taoist offered spirit stones. Is there a higher price? 51,000 spirit stones. At the same time, the bidding has reached a fever pitch. In the end, a male cultivator from Burning Flame Valley won the auction, and the rest of the guests all looked at that man with envious eyes. However, no one knew how miserable this male cultivator would end up. My lord, Miss Xuanxuan has to go to wash up for a while. I will take you to the room to rest first. As an old woman, Duru pulled the male cultivator's clothes, left the scene under the envious eyes of everyone, and took him to an empty room not long after. Old guy, where's Miss Xuanxuan? The male cultivator noticed something was wrong as soon as he entered the room. The room was so dirty that anyone with a discerning eye could tell that it hadn't been taken care of for a long time. Oh, you really want toads to eat swan meat? My Xuanxuan doesn't like a man as ugly as you. While speaking, Duru directly struck, and her cultivation at the nascent soul stage killed the male cultivator in an instant. After a sneer, just as Duru was about to order someone to clean up the corpse, her complexion suddenly changed, and she flew out from the window. She sensed the breath of a nascent soul cultivator. The other side, Zhang Feng and others had already started to act when bidding. Zhang Feng and Ni Yunbing divided into two groups. Every time they reached a room, they locked the door behind them, and then used their spiritual sense to feel the fluctuations of the Lingbao. This was extremely efficient. When they encountered someone in the room who was doing business, they rushed in without hesitation, inspected it and then left, attracting the voices of many guests scolding their mothers. No, not here either. Zhang Feng eagerly searched for the whereabouts of the Lingbao. His heart was in his throat. Such a big movement, the old guy in the nascent soul stage must have discovered it, and he probably has already started a fight with King Shangzhou Xing, so he has to hurry up. He also didn't know what the spirit treasure looked like, and whether it would be put in the space ring. However, at present, only this stupid method can work. Another door was pushed open. Zhang Feng was stunned. Why does this room look more like a wedding room? On the wall of the room, a large she character was pasted, surrounded by red ribbons, and even the quilt on the bed was festive red. Do not care. Zhang Feng was too lazy to think about it, and began to search the room with his spiritual sense. Suddenly, there were footsteps outside the door. Zhang Feng looked left and right, and finally could only hide on the bed, covered himself with a quilt, and faced the wall. He could sense that the cultivation base of the person coming was definitely not low. Just after he got ready, a beautiful figure pushed the door open and walked in. Young master, the slave family is here. The screen turns. In the sky, two figures confronted each other. One of them, with a Chinese character face, was Shangwang Zhou Xing. On the opposite side of him was the old woman Duru in the heaven and earth. Both of them had the cultivation base of the nascent soul stage, but it was obvious that the old woman's cultivation base was higher, reaching the realm of the nascent soul third heaven. At this moment, Duru's wrinkled face was full of anger, and he said coldly, His Royal Highness, our Heihuan sect and the imperial court have always kept the river in check. Why did you attack us? Senior Du, during this period of time, you girls in heaven and earth have absorbed too much yang energy from ordinary people, and you must be aware of it. This kind of thing happened, our court naturally can't ignore it. King Shang shook his head. All along, the imperial court has turned a blind eye to the demon sect. But if there were casualties of ordinary people, the imperial court had to take care of them. After all, their great Shah dynasty was still dominated by ordinary people, and they couldn't just watch ordinary people disappear. But Duru argued, His Excellency King Shang, those who died were all weak people, and have nothing to do with our heaven and earth. You'd better take your own people and go, otherwise, don't blame me for being ungrateful. At this time, Duru was already in a hurry. The handsome male cultivator she had sought out for Lu Xuanxuan hadn't been sent to the room yet, for fear that something might happen that would result in a failure of success. King Shang sensed Duru's urgency, and made up his mind to delay. Senior Du, I have to deal with this matter. King Shang Zhou Xing said very calmly, to be honest, the people I brought have already searched for such things in your heaven and earth, so you should stay here obediently. After Duru heard what King Shang said, her heart sank. Can't wait any longer. The thing that King Shang said is not an ordinary magic weapon, but a holy object of their Heihuan sect, which can speed up the absorption of yang qi when doing such things. The old man can only compete with His Royal Highness King Shang. As soon as the words fell, a black wooden stick appeared in Duru's hand. It was a fifth-order spiritual treasure. Excuse me. In an instant, the two nascent soul stage powerhouses had already fought together. The terrifying fluctuation caused a strong wind to blow in the surrounding space. Go back to the room where Zhang Feng is. Zhang Feng breathed a sigh of relief when he heard Lu Xuanxuan's voice. He did remember that in the game, this Lu Xuanxuan was still innocent at this stage. As long as she explained it carefully, she should be able to get away with it. However, when Zhang Feng turned his head, he was amazed by the sight in front of him. At this time, Lu Xuanxuan slipped on the ground in a red dress. Her skin was as white and delicate as suet jade, and under her slender eyelashes was a pair of eyes as bright as obsidian. This woman has a slender figure with shaved shoulders. A hand like a lotus root gently supports the plumpness in front of her body, while the other hand protects her lower body. Seeing Zhang Feng turning around, Lu Xuanxuan was stunned for a moment. The little deer bumped in his heart. What a handsome young master. If you give your body to this person, it seems not unacceptable. She parted her red lips timidly, and looked at Zhang Feng shyly with her beautiful eyes. Master, I'm not ready yet, can you wait for me a little longer? Girl, have you misunderstood something? Zhang Feng really wanted to say that, but when the words came to his lips, they turned into, of course it's no problem. Zhang Feng sat on the edge of the bed, looking up and down at Lu Xuanxuan's hot figure. Don't look at his calmness on the surface, but after all, this is the first time he has experienced such a thing in reality, and his heart is excited besides excitement. No matter how you say it, Lu Xuanxuan is an innocent girl. Seeing Zhang Feng's straight eyes, she felt like ants were crawling all over her body, and her pretty cheeks were blushing. She subconsciously clamped a pair of jade legs, took out a small box from the interspatial ring, and opened it carefully. Zhang Feng glanced at it calmly. I saw a long strip of things lying quietly inside the box, covered with mosaics. Miss Xuanxuan, what is this? Zhang Feng asked knowingly. Hearing his question, Lu Xuanxuan's already rosy face became even more charming, biting her red lips, and glanced at Zhang Feng with hazy eyes. My lord, this is a sacred object of our Heihuan sect. It can add some fun. What a liar. Zhang Feng was fully aware of the function of this thing. The sacred object of the Heihuan sect can double the effect of the dragon drawing water technique after being used. As long as the female cultivator who practices the dragon drawing water uses this thing, the male cultivator who has been absorbed by the yang energy will definitely be sucked dry. And as long as this thing appears within a radius of several hundred meters, it will have a blessing effect on Long Jishui. It's no wonder that many mortals have been sucked out of their yang energy. It seems that this thing is playing tricks. Miss Xuanxuan, why don't I use this sacred object? Seeing this thing appear, Zhang Feng knew that he might not be able to eat this beauty in front of him, otherwise he would definitely be sucked dry, and the task would not be completed. Such a good thing, it's a pity to destroy it, so let's get it. But, Lu Xuanxuan hesitated. After all, this is a sacred object of the sect. Although the man in front of her was the best-looking man she had ever seen in her life, and his voice was very gentle, but the sect's sacred objects must not be lost. However, Zhang Feng took a few steps forward and grabbed Lu Xuanxuan's hand that was holding the holy object. The other hand gently lifted her chin. "Miss Xuanxuan, leave it to me." Lu Xuanxuan let out a "wow," and closed her eyes shyly. However, after waiting for a long time, Lu Xuanxuan did not get a response. When she opened her eyes and saw that Zhang Feng was still there, he actually left with the holy object. She completely left her, a flowery and jade-like beauty, in place. For a moment, Lu Xuanxuan fell into a sluggish state. Aunt Ru is right, men really don't have a good thing. When she came back to her senses, she stomped her feet angrily, almost overflowing with grievances in her heart. She is ready to give herself up. Moreover, she is not unable to overcome the side effects of the sacred object. She can definitely make the man comfortable without losing his life. The other side. After Zhang Feng put the sacred object into the space ring, he left the heaven and earth immediately, and then left Lingzhong City without stopping, and released the signal at the agreed place. The so-called signal is actually something similar to wolf smoke. It can be seen within a radius of 100 miles. Not long after, everyone evacuated Lingzhong City, and those who didn't come back really couldn't come back. There were 7 people when we set off, and only 6 people were left when we came back. Chen Tishan of the Elephant Armor sect must have had an accident while performing this task and was killed by members of the Heihuan sect. Zhang Feng didn't meet a monk from the Acacia sect. It can be said that he was quite lucky, and even got the sacred object in his hands with great luck. Zhang Daoyu, is that spirit treasure destroyed? King Shang also had some injuries, but he asked Zhang Feng immediately. Fortunately not humiliated. As soon as this remark came out, everyone present showed a look of envy. Destroy that Lingbao to get 3 Xuanyu fruits. That's Zan Yuguo. And there are still 3 at a time, this Zhang Feng's luck is too good. However, no one dared to confuse their minds, because Zan Yuguo was personally escorted by people from the court, even if they stayed in advance to snatch Zan Yuguo. It is definitely unwise to provoke the court. That's right, fellow Taoist Zhang Feng is indeed a disciple of the Daotian sword sect. This time the matter has been resolved. On behalf of the imperial court, I thank you for your contribution. King Shang clasped his fists and said, the 3 Xuanyu fruits will be sent to Daotian sword sect within 7 days. Zhang Feng blushed. During his trip, there was no battle at all, and he even saw all the body of the saintess of the Heihuan sect, but it was a pity that nothing more happened. After Zhang Feng's matter was over, several other people also handed over the head of a demon cultivator in exchange for King Zhang's promise of a mysterious jade fruit. Only Ni Yun beside Zhang Feng didn't get anything this trip. However, the task was accomplished. As for the dead Chen Tishan of the Elephant Armor sect, no one mentioned it at all, as if he was forgotten like this. This is the cruelty of the world of cultivating immortals. Okay, the things here are considered complete, everyone go back to the sect. After all, King Shang directly summoned his flying boat and left here. Others also left one after another. In the end, only Elder Bai Jia from Tianan Valley and Feng Shanyan from Shanjian Pavilion were left. These 2 beautiful women looked at Zhang Feng with hungry eyes. That Bai Jia from Tianan Valley was the first to speak. Fellow Zhang Feng, if you have time, you can come to our Tianan Valley as a guest. I will definitely treat you well. With that said, Elder Bai Jia cast a wink at Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng is not just being perfunctory. He must go to Tianan Valley when he has time. According to the game settings, there are many single big sisters in Tianan Valley, waiting for him to give him warmth. After receiving Zhang Feng's response, Bai Jia took out her flying magic weapon contentedly, and quickly disappeared into the night sky. On the other side, Feng Shanyan from Shanjian Pavilion walked over directly, hugged Zhang Feng's arm, and left a sweet kiss on his handsome face. Zhang Daoyu, there are many beauties in our Shanjian Pavilion, you must come and see. Zhang Feng glanced at Feng Shanyan's majestic twin peaks calmly, then nodded emphatically. Come to visit some other day. But he sighed in his heart. Maid, I've been taken advantage of again, all because of my handsome face. After everyone left, only Zhang Feng and Ni Yun were left in place. Seeing that Zhang Feng is so popular with female cultivators, Niyun next to him has long been dumbfounded. Sure enough, this world is a world of faces, right? Should he also pay attention to his own image? Cough. Senior brother Ni, it's time for us to leave too. Seeing that Niyun was in a daze, Zhang Feng couldn't help reminding him. Oh. Only then did Niyun realize that Zhang Feng had already taken out the flying boat while he was in a daze. He quickly boarded the flying boat with Zhang Feng and flew in the direction of Daotian Sword Sect. Heaven on earth. Duru is very angry now. Ever since she became a nascent soul stage strongman, she has never been so aggrieved as she is today. The several alchemy stage female cultivators brought from the sect all died unexpectedly. What's worse is that the sect's sacred objects were also stolen. To be more precise, he was cheated by someone. I'm sorry, Aunt Ru, I don't know that person is here to steal the holy artifact. Lu Xuanxuan at the side said with red eyes and blamed herself very much. In her opinion, if she hadn't been too careless, it would have been impossible for the holy artifact to be stolen by others. No, Xuanxuan, it's not your fault. It's because I didn't think clearly about the consequences of inviting the holy object out, and I didn't expect the court to do it so soon, and the person I sent was His Royal Highness King Shang, who specifically restrained me. Duru said with a sigh. The wrinkles on her face seemed to have increased a lot. Then, what should we do in the future? Lu Xuanxuan asked with some anxiety in her heart. After losing the sacred relic of the sect, her ceremony could not go on, not to mention that since she saw that handsome face, she couldn't hold other people in her heart anymore. She has spiritual eyes that any monk dreams of, and she can see through all disguises. Zhang Feng's previous disguise was useless in front of her. Duru looked at Lu Xuanxuan with a serious look on her wrinkled face. Xuanxuan, now we can only atone for our sins and get the sacred object back. Do you remember what that man looked like? Well, I remember him. Lu Xuanxuan nodded emphatically. Of course she couldn't forget the first man who looked at her naked body. Besides, he is so handsome. So temperamental. Duru breathed a sigh of relief. Very good. Our Heihuan sect has a technique that can print out the pictures in our memory. As long as we have the portrait of that person, we will definitely be able to find him. Lu Xuanxuan nodded, half understood. She not only wanted to get back the holy object, but also to do what should be done. If he doesn't want to, then come hard. At the same time, Zhang Feng, who was still basking in the moon on the flying boat just now, shivered violently, like a Parkinson's syndrome patient. Even the cafeteria ant would feel ashamed. Ah, what the hell? Zhang Feng felt at a loss. I am already a monk in the alchemy stage, but I still sneeze. No one will miss him, right? That must be the case. There are 2 junior sisters waiting for him at home, and he has been away for 2 days. Thinking of such an explanation, Zhang Feng gradually felt relieved, and then simply called out to Niyun, who was meditating and practicing seriously in the cabin. Senior brother Niyun, I'm not feeling well, how about you sail this boat? Zhang Feng was telling the truth. He sneezed. Niyun was a little angry at first, and it was a very unpleasant thing to be interrupted to practice, but after hearing Zhang Feng's explanation, he immediately understood. That's right. Junior brother Zhang Feng went deep into the tiger's den and destroyed the spirit treasure, so he must have suffered serious injuries. So that's it, junior brother Zhang, I'll leave the matter of sailing the boat to senior brother. After speaking, Niyun resolutely stepped onto the bow of the ship and temporarily took over the driving of the flying boat. This brother is very nice. Zhang Feng nodded secretly, then took out the quilt from the interspatial ring, and found a clean place to sleep in the cabin. As for cultivation, it was impossible. Because of some kind of misunderstanding, Niyun was always driving the flying boat for the next 2 days. Zhang Feng was naturally happy to be at leisure, and occasionally tried to combine the sword energy condensed from the heaven-level exercises, and it turned out that he successfully worked out a version of the combination of the 2 sword energy. After combining Daotian Sword Qi and Taishuan Sword Qi, he named it Daoshuan Sword Qi. Although the power has not increased exponentially, it is definitely much stronger than before. 2 days later, the 2 returned to Daotian Sword Sect. Zhang Feng originally planned to go back to Purple Bamboo Peak directly, but Niyun pulled him and said to go and collect the rewards, so he had no choice but to temporarily extinguish the thought of going back. It wasn't that long anyway. Junior brother, the sword tomb of our Daotian sword sect is just ahead, and there are swords left by the ancestors of our Daotian sword sect. As long as we can recognize the master, we will make a lot of money. After handing in the task, Niyun brought Zhongfeng to Zhangjiang. At this time, what appeared in front of them was a desolate valley. No one could have imagined that there would be such a desolate place in the majestic Daotian sword sect. Hearing Niyun's words, Zhongfeng lost interest. Now he just wants to go back early and feel how his junior sisters miss him these days, such as love stickers and so on, instead of accompanying a man here to hunt for treasure in the desolate sword mound. Senior brother Ni, of course I know about the sword tomb, so hurry up. Zhongfeng didn't bother to say much, he passed Niyun and walked quickly towards Zhangjiang. You fool, you are really in a hurry than me. Niyun shook his head and smiled, and hurriedly followed. They can only stay in this sword mound for half an hour, and if they haven't left after half an hour, the elders guarding the sword mound will drive them away. Regardless of whether they have been recognized by a sword, they cannot continue to stay here. At the same time, outside the sword mound, many figures were hiding in the dark and watching the two of them. Most of these figures are elders, and there are even a few peak masters who are also watching outside. The Zixia fairy from Cayenne Peak is here. There is also a petite figure, it is the suzerain and Xiao Yu. They all heard that someone was going to enter the sword tomb, and they came here to watch the excitement. Especially in Xiao Yu, who had already panicked from being idle. As long as there is a little bit of fun, she is willing to take the lead and become a glorious happy person, so she doesn't look like a suzerain. What's more, among the two people who just entered, one of them is Sister Zayu's disciple. And Xiao Yu wanted to see what level of spirit sword Zhongfeng could take out from the sword mound. At this time, Duan Mingzhan, the peak master of Misty Peak, saw Niyun's figure with a smile on his face. As the old man's apprentice, Niyun's cultivation has already reached the realm of the sixth heaven of alchemy. I believe he will be able to obtain a powerful spirit sword from a certain senior this time. Hearing this sentence, many people are deeply convinced. There was only one person who uttered sour words, and that was Qingyan Peak's peak master, Zhao Wuliang. Hehe, how can it be so easy to obtain the natal spirit swords of the powerful seniors? In my opinion, these two disciples are considered to be lucky if they can get a third-order spirit sword, and it is something to be thankful for. Many people frowned. What Zhao Wuliang said was indeed a little too much. Duan Mingzhan, the peak master of Misty Peak, was even more angry when he heard this. Zhao Wuliang is a typical example of saying grapes are sour when he can't eat them. Suddenly, Duan Mingzhan thought of something, and said sarcastically, Master Zhao Feng, you really are a noble person who forgets things. Your disciple who has the talent of an immortal is still only in the realm of the third heaven of alchemy. You, Zhao Wuliang choked for a moment, and was immediately speechless. Just as Duan Mingzhan wanted to take advantage of the victory to pursue him, there was already movement from the sword mound, and a soaring sword energy pierced the sky, which meant that someone had already been recognized by the spirit sword. Within the sword mound, Zhongfeng was strolling leisurely with the mentality of resignation. As a result, Niyun, who was not far away from him, was suddenly recognized by a spirit sword, and the soaring brilliance caught his attention. Ha, it worked. I really did it. Niyun laughed loudly, holding a spiritual sword emitting purple light in his hand. And the rank of this spirit sword is not low, it has a full rank of 5. In the sword mound, it can definitely be regarded as a superior spirit sword. You must know that there are not many 5th-order spirit swords in the entire sword mound. Seeing such a scene, Zhongfeng was also envious for a while. Although the eternal flame blue spiritual sword in his hand is 2 levels higher than the spiritual sword in Niyun's hand, who would despise his many treasures? I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. Seeing this senior brother Ni is quite honest on weekdays, I didn't expect to be so lucky. Brother Zhongfeng, I'm going to take a step first. I believe you can also find a suitable spirit sword to recognize the master. Niyun walked past Zhongfeng vigorously and patted him on the shoulder. However, he was thinking about it in his heart. Being able to make the spirit sword recognize its master is already a great luck, and Zhongfeng must not have such luck. And Zhongfeng naturally didn't know what Niyun was thinking in his heart, he just envied him for a while, and then continued to look for the spirit sword that could identify himself as the master. The way to find the Master Spirit Sword is also very simple, just stick your hand on it. However, no matter how Zhang Feng tried, none of the spirit swords answered him. It was like a dead thing without any life, quietly stuck in the ground, waiting for their master to come back. But the spirit sword is not a dead thing, they just don't recognize Zhang Feng as a person. Zhang Feng frowned, and immediately understood the problem. I saw his mind move. A mysterious sword intent emanated from him, directly covering all the surrounding spirit swords. The other side. As soon as Ni Yun walked out of the sword mound, he heard a familiar laugh. Ha ha ha, you really deserve to be the old man's disciple. Okay, I'm very pleased to be a teacher. Our Misty Peak has a successor. The person who spoke was Duan Mingjian, the peak master of Piaomiao Peak, who was looking at Ni Yun, who had returned with a smile, with unconcealable love in his eyes. This is his disciple, and today, he gave him a long face in front of everyone. Congratulations to fellow Taoist Duan, you have such a talented disciple. That's right, Peak Master Duan, this son will surely become a great weapon. It seems that Misty Peak will have another student with outstanding talent in the future, which really makes me envious. The surrounding elders all stepped forward to congratulate him. After hearing these compliments, Duan Mingjian smiled even more, looked at Ni Yun with more satisfaction, and even took time to look at Zhao Wuliang's face next to him. Sure enough, Zhao Wuliang's face turned green. Oh, it's just good luck. Zhao Wuliang didn't say these words, but stared at the figure in the sword mound, thinking that it is impossible for this Zhang Feng to have the spirit sword to recognize the master again, right? When everyone saw Zhao Wuliang staring at the inside of the sword mound, they all reacted. Yup, there is another one in the sword mound. However, the time left is running out. Almost everyone has lost confidence in Zhang Feng. If they haven't recognized the master of the spirit sword for so long, it must be due to insufficient qualifications and no chance. Half an hour has already passed, more than half. At this moment, the sudden change occurred. In the sword mound, all the spirit swords suddenly went crazy, they all rose from the ground, and then revolved around a figure, and this figure was Zhang Feng. Thousands of flying swords formed an extremely spectacular scene. Zhang Feng, as the protagonist, seems to have become the master of the sword. There is a kind of courage to swallow mountains and rivers. How can that be? Seeing this scene, Zhao Wuliang was dumbfounded, it was totally different from what he thought. Yes, how could such a thing happen? The other elders, even Suzerain and Xiao Yu, were dumbfounded. You must know that these spirit swords all have their own will, and they are not so easy to be inferior to others, not to mention that many of them only recognize one master. For thousands of years, they have been waiting for their former master to appear. This scene of thousands of swords resounding together has never appeared before. Because no one person can obtain the approval of all spirit swords at the same time. At this moment, Ni Yun, who was a little complacent just now, smiled wryly and shook his head. Junior brother Zhang Feng, what a monster. A mysterious breath suddenly burst out from Zhang Feng's body. It was the Daoshuan sword intent that he combined the Daoshan sword intent and the Taishuan sword intent before. The two sword intents are mixed with each other, it is not as simple as 1 + 1. Buzzing, the terrifying sword energy suddenly soared into the sky. Zhang Feng looked at so many swords flying around him, and thought it was very cool, but he also felt a little scalp numb. There are so many swords, but they are all spirit swords of at least the 3rd rank or higher. If they all came towards me, wouldn't they be poked into holes in an instant? Fortunately, he has maintained a calm demeanor all year round, and now there is no trace of emotion on his face, otherwise he will be ashamed. Not long after, a simple and unpretentious spirit sword was inserted in front of Zhang Feng. Ah, this. Zhang Feng looked at the rusty spirit sword in front of him, frowned slightly, and wanted to swear directly, but stopped abruptly. Something is wrong. According to the routine in the novel, this rusty spirit sword should have another universe. System, how about this spirit sword? Undecided, Zhang Feng asked the system directly, anyway, the system must know. Sure enough, the system directly replied, congratulations to the host, this sword is the founder of Daoshan sword sect, and the sword left by Chen Daoshan is a 9th order spirit sword. I will say it. Zhang Feng was overjoyed, and pulled out the spirit sword on the ground without hesitation. Immediately afterwards, a stream of information appeared in his mind. This sword is called Broken Rainbow. With one sword out, it can cut the clouds and rainbows in the sky. Broken Rainbow Sword. Zhang Feng nodded secretly. The name is not bad, but I don't know how powerful it is. At this time, the Broken Rainbow Sword in his hand had already expressed joy, as if urging Zhang Feng to use himself immediately, without pity on it at all. Okay, since you want to show yourself so much, let me give you a chance. After all, Zhang Feng flew directly into the sky. Looking around, thousands of miles of rivers and mountains are beautiful, and he couldn't help feeling a surge of pride in his heart. Zhang Feng raised his head, and then slashed a terrifying sword energy towards the sky without hesitation. The purple gold sword energy pierced the sky and flew towards the clouds. Then, the cloud in the sky was split into two silently. Get back on the ground. Zhang Feng originally planned to leave directly and return to Zizhu Peak. As a result, he had just walked out of the sword mound, and the elders who had hidden their figures just now appeared directly in front of him, their eyes shining brightly. After all, what Zhang Feng did just now was really incredible. However, Zhang Feng shuddered all over. The eyes of these old guys are very strange. Are they playing their own minds? It doesn't seem impossible that seniors, disciples go first. You can't go. A petite figure stood in front of Zhang Feng. It was An Xiaoyu, the patriarch of the Daotian sword sect. She was like a little girl in front of Zhang Feng. Being short, it's hard to be awe-inspiring. My lord, is there a problem? Zhang Feng naturally knew that he couldn't leave after making such a big commotion. And Xiaoyu's curiosity was going to explode right now. As a strong person in the tribulation period, she can naturally sense that Zhang Feng has changed too much these days. For example, it only took less than 7 days for the cultivation base to reach the alchemy stage from the qi training stage to the alchemy stage. This point can also be explained with the elixir given by Sister Zhiyu. Then, the spiritual root in his body has changed from a mere useless spiritual root to a rare ethereal root in thousands of years. How can it be explained? Now, Zhang Feng displayed a unique sword spirit in front of everyone. Zhang Feng, quickly tell this suzerain, how did you achieve your sword energy just now? And Xiaoyu asked with her arms crossed. It looks like I won't let you go if you don't tell me. The rest of the people also looked at Zhang Feng curiously. Zhang Feng was helpless, so he could only tell the truth. Well, in fact, by fusing the two sword intents together, the power of the sword energy can be easily amplified. Sovereign, according to your strength, you should be able to tell that I'm not lying, right? And Xiaoyu lowered her head and thought for a while, then nodded lightly and said, that's true. A few strands of silver-white hair also hung down with her movements, and her entire face looked pure and flawless. Although Zhang Feng is not a lolicon, he couldn't help but look at it a few more times. The real person is much better looking than the one in the game, although he can't rush. Suddenly, and Xiaoyu raised her head and smiled, as expected of you, Sister Ziyu's disciple, come on. My suzerain takes good care of you. As she said that, she still wanted to stand on tiptoe and pat Zhang Feng on the shoulder, but she couldn't reach it at all. A small face was immediately filled with resentment. Zhang Feng understood, and took the initiative to squat down so that An Xiaoyu could touch his shoulder. Clap clap, the seemingly soft and feeble little hand patted his shoulder twice lightly. But Zhang Feng felt like his bones were about to break. Don't underestimate the white-haired loli in front of you, her strength during the catastrophe period. If she doesn't control the strength of 2 random shots, it is normal to even destroy a mountain. After An Xiaoyu patted Zhang Feng's shoulder, she didn't stay for long, and left the sword mound directly. Probably, maybe, there was a slight chance that she was going to deal with the affairs of the sect. However, the elders who were a little jealous of the suzerain before did not hide their love for talent at all, and threw olive branches at Zhang Feng one after another. Little friend Zhang Feng, old man Xu Changsheng, your master, Ji Ziyu, is still my junior sister. How about you add a registered disciple under my name? An old man with white hair and childlike face came over first and said impatiently. Elder Xu, you are wrong, Zhang Feng already has a master. Another chubby elder said mercilessly, then looked at Zhang Feng with a smile on his face. Little friend Zhang Feng, the old man Chong Desheng, the elder of Lingxiao Peak, come to our Lingxiao Peak often when you have time. How about teaching my ineffective disciples? This. Zhang Feng pretended to be hesitant. The elder laughed quickly and said, of course, you won't come in vain. As long as you are willing to teach my disciples, I am willing to give you a third-order spirit treasure as a gift. After finishing speaking, the elder simply took out a purple gourd and handed it to Zhang Feng. The third-order magic weapon, the purple jade gourd. It can hold spiritual springs without dissipating the spiritual power in the springs. It is definitely a must-have artifact for home travel. Not bad. Zhang Feng accepted it directly, and smiled at the elder. Elder Chong, don't worry, I will definitely come to Lingxiao Peak when I have time. Seeing that Zhang Feng was so eloquent, the other elders couldn't sit still anymore. Little friend Zhang Feng, this is our Chongyu Peak's Chongyu Linglu, which can quickly heal injuries. You must come to our Chongyu Peak. 1,000-year-old iron essence weighing 10 catties. Little friend Zhang Feng, remember to come to our Qianju Peak. Qi Yang pill is of great benefit to stabilizing your cultivation. With just a moment's practice, Zhang Feng has a lot of treasures in the hands of heaven and earth, as well as weapons and medicines, and the request of these elders is just to go to their mountain peaks for a while. With Zhang Feng's state of mind, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. Cool, so cool. This wave is definitely a big profit. Not only did he get a 9th-level spirit sword, but he also got so many good things. In the future, there will definitely be something for the junior sisters. Ni Yun on the side was stunned. This is really more popular than people. However, he doesn't have any complaints. After all, there is a bottomless gap between ordinary geniuses and real geniuses. What's more, Zhang Feng is not an ordinary genius. It is a handsome, peerless genius who is deeply loved by female immortals, and now he has aroused the love of the elders. Now he is definitely a future with no limit. The other side, Zhao Wuliang was even more envious. Why, disciples from other families can easily get opportunities. But the few in his family are always rotten wood. If someone knew that he was thinking about this in his heart, he would probably be very speechless, and he would not look at who his master was, but he was a strong man in the tribulation period. There was only one person looking at Zhang Feng with complicated eyes. This person is exactly the beautiful leader of Cayenne Peak, Zhang Taixia, who is standing at the side. I didn't expect that a mere waste spirit root would be trained so well by you. Sure enough, I can't compare to you in anything. Ziyu. Ling'er's gaze is still good, but the age gap seems to be a bit big. Forget it, I'd better not worry about young people's affairs. Zhang Taixia was the second to leave, because in her opinion there was nothing worth seeing, and she could talk about it with her disciples when she went back. Zhang Feng was also relieved to see Zhang Taixia leave. After all, he could abduct and sell other people's disciples in a disguised form, although he would never admit it. Elders, it's getting late, I'm going back first. Zhang Feng saw that everyone couldn't come up with anything, so he just turned around and left. It's better to stay here with a group of bad old men than to go home with 2 junior sisters. Slip away. Chapter 51. Purple Bamboo Peak. After Zhang Feng left the sect, Xiao Yuro began to practice in seclusion. With the blessing of 2 different fires, not long ago her cultivation finally reached the alchemy stage. Although she only has the cultivation base of the first level of Dandan, but her strength, I am afraid that even someone who is a few days higher than her is not an opponent. Finally reached the alchemy stage, presumably the senior brother is back, so I should be able to give him a surprise, right? Xiao Yuro opened her eyes, her big clear eyes were full of anticipation. Suddenly, she seemed to think of something again, and her mood suddenly fell. Brother, he is obviously a waste spirit root, and his aptitude is even worse than mine, but before he left, his cultivation had clearly reached the realm of the 7th heaven of alchemy, and I was still too slack. But after practicing seriously for so long, it's time to go out for a walk. Senior brother said that there must be relaxation in cultivation, and you can't just practice hard. Thinking of this, Xiao Yuro got off the bed, put on her shoes, and walked to the 3rd junior sister's room next door. Boom boom boom. There was a knock on the door. After a while, a small head poked out from behind the door. Senior sister, what's wrong? Yi Yaoer looked puzzled, her eyes were a little dodged, and her face was blushing. Something is wrong. Very wrong. Xiao Yuro had sharp eyes, and quickly discovered what Yi Yaoer was covering up, so she frowned and asked, "Junior sister, are you hiding something from me?" "No. No, senior sister, I was practicing just now." "Then what are you afraid of?" Xiao Yuro was even more puzzled, so she simply rushed in. "Sister." Yi Yaoer's little face flushed anxiously, and she didn't know what she was thinking. After entering the room, Xiao Yuro looked around for the first time, but she didn't notice anything wrong, but the quilt on the bed seemed a bit messy, and she didn't know if third junior sister forgot to tidy it up. "Third junior sister, since you got up, you should tidy up the quilt properly." While talking, Xiao Yuro decided to help Yi Yaoer tidy the quilt herself. "It's just too outrageous to go on like this." However, when she lifted the quilt, she seemed to see something she shouldn't have seen. "No wonder. Junior sister won't let me in." Seeing the scene in front of her, Xiao Yuro felt a little regretful in her heart. She would have known that she would not have come in. Fortunately, she packed the quilt in a short while, turned to face Yi Yaoer, and did not say much in a very considerate manner. "Junior sister, I'm leaving first, remember to pack the quilt in the future." Senior sister, go slowly." Yi Yaoer stammered. After seeing Xiao Yuro's figure walk away, she breathed a sigh of relief and sat on the edge of the bed. Recalling what happened before Xiao Yuro came in her mind, her face was blushing hot. Yi Yaoer bit her pink lips lightly, feeling a little guilty in her heart. "Another me, don't do this kind of thing in the future, in case you are discovered." "Why does it matter? It's your first time, right?" Yi Yaoer wanted to shake her head in denial. She felt that this was not good, that she would turn bad. However, the fact is indeed as the other self said, which cannot be denied. "Then, try not to do this in the future." The other sighed. After Xiao Yuro left Yi Yaoer's room, she always felt something was wrong. Third junior sister is also a monk in the foundation establishment stage, how can she act like a child? Forget it, why think so much? Xiao Yuro shook her head, throwing out the doubts in her heart. She is going to check Zhang Feng's room now to see if Zhang Feng is back. If he didn't come back, he would instill some thoughts in the little fox's head to stay away from Zhang Feng. In this way, even if the little fox takes shape, it shouldn't be too much of a threat. In just a moment, Xiao Yuro appeared in front of Zhang Feng's room door, and soon sensed a familiar aura. "Brother, he is back." She was so happy that she was about to knock on the door, but suddenly she was troubled by curiosity. Xiao Yuro wanted to know what Zhang Feng was doing in the room. She held her breath, and then quietly looked into the room through the gap in the door, and she saw that Zhang Feng was holding something in his hand at the moment. "What is this?" After Xiao Yuro saw clearly what Zhang Feng was holding, she lost interest. The thing in Zhang Feng's hand didn't look like a magic weapon, and he didn't know what it was useful for. Now, Zhang Feng in the room naturally didn't know there was anyone outside. Almost all of his thoughts fell on the holy relic of the Heihuan sect in his hand, which was a long strip-shaped spiritual treasure refined from a special ore. If he remembers correctly, this spirit treasure not only has effects on disciples of the Heihuan sect who practiced long Jishui, but also has certain effects on other female cultivators. Zhang Feng input a little bit of spiritual power, and the holy object in his hand emitted a faint light. Sure enough, it is worthy of being a serious world of cultivating immortals, and even this kind of thing has appeared. Even if some strange spirit treasures appeared again, he would not be surprised. This wonderful spiritual treasure is still of some use to Zhang Feng now. In the future, if you meet a female cultivator of the Heihuan sect, you only need to activate this holy object. It can make that female cultivator incapable of fighting, and the effect is very significant. He put away this sacred object of the Heihuan sect with great care, and was going to take out the 9th level spirit sword Duanhong that he got from the sword tomb earlier to have a closer look. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Boom boom boom. When Zhang Feng opened the door, it was Xiao Yuro who he saw. "Brother, welcome back." When Xiao Yuro saw Zhang Feng, she couldn't help but smile on her pretty face. Her neat teeth were like pearls, which was pleasing to the eye. Zhang Feng was naturally happy when he saw his junior sister whom he hadn't seen for a few days. Just wanted to touch Xiao Yuro's little head. But this girl dodged all of a sudden. Seeing that she was quite resentful, she hummed softly, gestured with her small fist and said, Senior brother, why didn't you come to see me even though you were back? Ah, this. It may be more troublesome for other people to face this situation. But Zhang Feng was facing Xiao Yuro, so it was naturally much more convenient. He lied without any guilt. Junior sister Yuro, the reason why senior brother didn't come to see you immediately is actually to prepare a gift for you. As soon as these words came out, Xiao Yuro immediately froze. Really, really, of course it's true. As soon as the words fell, the holy object just now appeared in Zhang Feng's hands. Xiao Yuro's eyes suddenly lost their brilliance. Cough. Sorry, I took the wrong one. Zhang Feng quickly took back the holy object of the Heihuan sect, and then took out a very beautiful hairpin, which was given by a previous elder. This is a golden hairpin with a phoenix spreading its wings at the end, which is very eye-catching. Sure enough, Xiao Yuro was immediately attracted. Brother, is this for me? Of course, it also has a nice name. It's called the Golden Jade Phoenix Wing Hairpin. Let me put it on for you. It is good. In Zhang Feng's room, the little fox was lying on the bed, watching Zhang Feng's sweet talk, just took out a hairpin, and tricked Xiao Yuro into ecstasy, the contempt in the big purple eyes hardly concealed. This master is too bad. I can't. The little fox really wanted to expose Zhang Feng's lies at this time, but unfortunately, it hadn't transformed yet, so it couldn't speak human words. However, it faintly felt that it would be able to transform itself soon. The bottleneck of the nascent soul stage couldn't stop me for a long time at all. Hey, master, when I take shape, I must be the only one in your heart. At the door, Zhang Feng naturally didn't know what was going on in the little fox's little head that he had been looking forward to for a long time. His current thoughts were completely on Xiao Yuro. After personally helping the girl put on the golden jade phoenix winged hairpin, Xiao Yuro's already beautiful face was even more dignified. Zhang Feng leaned closer, and the faint fragrance of lotus entered his nostrils. The dreamlike face, the refreshing fragrance, and the deep whiteness that can be seen with lowered eyes made him reluctant to leave just like that. Zhang Feng knew that he still had to restrain himself. If he couldn't restrain himself and wiped out Xiao Yuro, the future lord of the endless fire region might just be gone. Brother, is Yuro beautiful? Xiao Yuro raised her swan-like snow-white neck, and looked at Zhang Feng affectionately with her beautiful eyes. Beautiful, of course beautiful. Zhang Feng nodded stiffly. As a normal man, he naturally couldn't resist Xiao Yuro's temptation. Her appearance was absolutely stunning. Hearing Zhang Feng's answer, Xiao Yuro felt that something was about to overflow from her body. She put a pair of small hands on Zhang Feng's chest, a delicate and flawless face quickly approached, then lightly pecked Zhang Feng's lips, and lowered her head shyly. This was the first time she kissed senior brother, and senior brother didn't hide. So happy, so shy too. Zhang Feng, however, felt thunderous. His first kiss in this world just disappeared, and it was still taken away by his junior sister. However, he did not resist. After all, his junior sister is the future master of the endless fire domain, and it is definitely something to be proud of to make such a proud girl like him. Ding! It was detected that the host gave Xiao Yuro a third-order magic weapon, the Golden Jade Phoenix Wing Hairpin. Will it be refunded by a critical hit? Crit return. Congratulations to the host for triggering the crit bonus, and obtaining the 7th-order magic weapon, the 9 Phoenix Chijin Luyun Hairpin. 9 Phoenix Red Gold Flowing Cloud Hairpin. It was left by Qingfeng Supreme in ancient times. It is said that the material used is rare Phoenix Blood Red Gold in the world. It is gorgeous in style and can keep people awake all the time. System, are you messing with me on purpose? Zhang Feng was almost speechless. The previous critical strike returned only the master's clothes, but this time there was another 9 Phoenix Red Gold Luyun hairpin. If the master knew that he gave this hairpin to someone else, there would definitely be no good results. In other words, if this hairpin wants to be given away, it can only be given to Master Ji Ziyu. Host, the items returned by this system are all randomly returned, and there is absolutely no background manipulation. After receiving the guarantee from the system, Zhang Feng's complexion improved a lot. That's it. Send this hairpin and the previous clothes to the master later. As for whether he can come back alive, he is not quite sure. Brother, what's the matter with you? Xiao Yuro originally lowered her head shyly, not daring to look into Zhang Feng's eyes. However, When he saw that Zhang Feng seemed to be in a daze, he thought that Zhang Feng was still remembering what happened just now, so he interrupted him in embarrassment and annoyance. Brother. Don't you like me like this? Zhang Feng came back to his senses, saw that Xiao Yuro had misunderstood him, and quickly explained, no, of course I like it. Then. You take the initiative to kiss me. It is good. Zhang Feng naturally wouldn't resist, since it was just a kiss anyway, and she wouldn't get pregnant. He hugged Xiao Yuro's willow waist somewhat rudely, lowered his head and kissed the delicate and charming lips, without giving Xiao Yuro any time to react. It was also the first time for Zhang Feng, but fortunately Xiao Yuro cooperated very well, and it didn't take long for her to get better. For a long time, the lips are divided. The breathing of the two was a little short, and Xiao Yuro kept avoiding Zhang Feng's gaze, but the person was in Zhang Feng's arms, where could he dodge? In the room, the little fox was about to explode. The home was stolen before it took form, and the owner couldn't bear the temptation. A feeling of grievance kept rising in the little fox's heart. It's coming soon. In a few days, it will be able to take form. When the time comes, we must snatch the owner back, it will definitely be able to do it. The screen turns. Zhang Feng kissed for the first time, and it took him a long time to recover. Looking up at Xiao Yuro's favorability, it has already reached an astonishing 75 points, which is not too far from Shengguan Linger's favorability. Sure enough, the improvement brought about by kissing is definitely huge. Holding Xiao Yuro in his arms, Zhang Feng wanted to keep holding her like this, because the girl's body is too soft, so it is very comfortable to hold. However, after all, it is necessary to separate. Zhang Feng also made a lot of determination to let go of Xiao Yuro. He was a little worried that Yi Yaoer would see him. At that time, the Shira field is no joke. Senior brother, I have already formed a pill, and I can help you in the future. Xiao Yuro knew that Zhang Feng must be a little embarrassed now, so she deliberately changed the subject. Junior sister is awesome. Zhang Feng praised without hesitation. A pair of big hands were habitually planning to touch Xiao Yuro's small head, but the girl avoided it. Senior brother, I'm not a child. Xiao Yuro blushed a little, bit her pink lips and said. However, if you must touch it, it's not impossible. You have to promise that you will love me forever. Zhang Feng smiled. Is not this nonsensical? Such a cute and beautiful junior sister, of course he will like it for the rest of his life. So, he raised his right hand and swore directly. I, Zhang Feng, hereby swear the oath of heaven, and I will always love Xiao Yuro in this life. If you break the oath, the sky will thunder. However, before he finished speaking, Xiao Yuro covered his mouth. Brother, are you crazy? Xiao Yuro said with red eyes. That is the oath of heaven, if you violate the oath, you will really die, and you will never leave any traces in this world. She would rather one day. Zhang Feng doesn't like herself anymore, and she doesn't want him to be hurt. I'm not crazy. Zhang Feng shook his head, he really planned to make the oath of heaven. Anyway, he didn't think he would hate Xiao Yuro one day, unless he was stupid. Brother, seeing that the two were about to hug each other again. The little fox in the room finally couldn't help it, it rushed out and sent Zhang Feng a purple thunderbolt, enough for Zhang Feng to drink a pot. Ouch, what the hell? Zhang Feng suddenly felt something stung his butt, and half of his body was paralyzed. Originally obsessed with flirting with his younger sister, he couldn't help but swear. Look back. The little fox was looking at him innocently, and seemed to want to hug him too. Zhang Feng naturally understood what the little fox meant, he must have been jealous, and dared to attack his master directly, isn't this a rebellion? However, he was reluctant to punish the little fox. He was still counting on the little fox to warm himself up in the future. If he punished him now, he might hold grudges. Brother, are you all right? Seeing Zhang Feng's sudden reaction, Xiao Yuro was also taken aback, and hurriedly asked with concern, seeing the little fox that suddenly appeared. It's nothing, the little fox should be jealous. Zhang Feng said with a wry smile. Psychic pets still get jealous. Xiao Yuro blinked her eyes, and looked at the little fox with more guarded eyes. The last time it was this little fox that disturbed the two-person world of myself and my senior brother, this time it was the same again. This little pink fox sure is not easy. Yes, junior sister. Don't look at it as just a little fox. In fact, its real face is the ancient beast nine-tailed sky fox, and its intelligence will never be worse than ours. Zhang Feng explained, and picked up the little fox on the ground. Then, he stroked its hair gently, and as a result, the little guy squinted his eyes slightly, enjoying the caress of Zhang Feng's big hands very much. HMPH. The nine-tailed sky fox is amazing, isn't it? Seeing Zhang Feng being so intimate with the little fox, Xiao Yuro felt jealous, not to mention she already knew that this little fox could transform into form. And the little fox in Zhang Feng's arms gave Xiao Yuro a mocking smile when Zhang Feng was not paying attention. It made Xiao Yuro's teeth itch with anger. Emma, the fist is hardened. Junior sister Yuro, I'm going to visit Yaoer, you can play with the little fox here for a while. Zhang Feng naturally didn't know that Xiao Yuro was eating the little fox's jealousy at the moment, otherwise she would definitely not be allowed to accompany the little fox, and it would be troublesome if they fought. Well, senior brother, go quickly. Xiao Yuro smiled, and gently waved her little hand. I'm leaving. Zhang Feng glanced at the little fox and left in a hurry. After all, he didn't have a crit return for a few days, and he also wanted to get all the crit rewards as soon as possible, so that he could face the Daotian secret realm that was about to be opened. After Zhang Feng left, Xiao Yuro looked at the little fox on the ground, but most of her anger disappeared. Even if it is a nine-tailed sky fox, its talent is terrifying, but its own talent is not bad now, and it will definitely be able to firmly hold the heart of senior brother. She squatted down, intending to have a good chat with the little fox. Little fox, you also like brother Zhang Feng, right? Xiao Yuro asked very straightforwardly. She really wanted to know what the little fox was thinking. After hearing her words, the little fox was stunned for a moment, then nodded without any hesitation. Squeaky, is it? Xiao Yuro smiled slightly. But, senior brother has already said that. He likes me, and he plans to make an oath of heaven. Do you think you have a chance to fight with me? The little fox's purple eyes immediately revealed a look full of hostility. Sure enough, Xiao Yuro secretly sighed. It's all because the senior brother is too good and gentle. As his junior sister, Xiao Yuro felt a lot of pressure. Even the little fox, the brother's spiritual pet, has become a rival in love, isn't it tiring? However, she will not lose. However, what Xiao Yuro didn't know was that the same voice was coming from the little fox's heart at this moment. On the other side, Zhang Feng, who had just left the Asura field, had already appeared in front of Yi Yar's room. Boom boom, after knocking lightly on the door. Then there was a rush of footsteps. Brother, are you here to give Yaoer a gift? Seeing that it was Zhang Feng who came, Yi Yaoer immediately guessed the purpose of his trip. There was no way, since Zhang Feng had been sending her various exercises and magic weapons every few days since she joined Zizhu Peak. Yi Yaoer could naturally guess Zhang Feng's purpose. That's right, senior brother gave you a spirit gathering pill this time, which can quickly improve your cultivation. 2 days later, the Daotian secret realm will open. I hope that junior sister Yaoer can also participate in it and have a good experience in the secret realm. Zhang Feng then handed a golden jeweling pill to Yi Yaoer. Since he handed Yi Yaoer the heaven-swallowing devil art, her current cultivation has reached the realm of the foundation building 9th heaven, and she is only one step away from entering the alchemy stage. And the minimum standard of Daotian secret realm is the strength to reach the realm of alchemy. Brother, thank you. Yi Yaoer turned her head so that Zhang Feng would not see her tears. She felt so happy. Senior brother Zhang Feng was thinking of her all the time. She could easily recognize this golden spirit gathering pill as a top-quality third-order pill. It is definitely a very suitable elixir for breaking through the alchemy stage. Silly girl, what can I thank you for? I'm your senior brother. Zhang Feng habitually prepared to touch Yi Yaoer's little head, but was dodged like Xiao Yuro's. He was a little depressed. Why is Yaoer the same as her senior sister today? Brother, if you touch it again, you won't grow taller. Yi Yaoer didn't seem to want this either. She preferred to be patted on the head by her senior brother, but when she thought of what her grandfather said, she didn't dare to let Zhang Feng pat her head anymore. Yaoer, where did you hear that? Grandpa told me. The girl answered truthfully, seems convinced of the fact. Zhang Feng became even more depressed. Yi Yaoer's grandfather, Senior Yi Juyu, really dug a hole for himself. However, depression belongs to depression, and the crit reward still has to be claimed. Ding. It is detected that the host gave Yi Yaoer a third-order elixir, dueling pill. Will it be refunded on a critical hit? Crit return. Congratulations to the host for triggering a crit reward. Get a 6th-order top-grade pill, Qingshan pill. Qingshan pill is also a kind of elixir used to improve one's cultivation level, and besides improving one's cultivation level, it will also add a kind of wind to one's own spiritual power, which will be more powerful when casting magical powers. Good stuff. Zhang Feng looked at the cyan pill that appeared in the space ring, and nodded with satisfaction. Junior sister, you should swallow the gathering spirit pill as soon as possible, and then break through the alchemy stage. Now that you have practiced the heaven-swallowing demon art, there shouldn't be any problem of vein cultivation. Well, Yaoer knows. Yi Yaoer nodded obediently, expressing that she knew what to do. Very good. Senior brother has other things to do, so don't bother me for now. Goodbye, brother. After separating from Yi Yaoer, Zhang Feng originally wanted to go directly to Master Ji Ziyu's cave and send back the 2 samples that belonged to Ji Ziyu. But after thinking about it carefully, he still decided to go to Shangguan Linger first. After all, he hasn't figured it out yet. How should I explain why the clothes Ji Ziyu wore in her previous life appeared in her hands? Kai Yunfang. It has been several days since what happened to Luo Tian, but Shangguan Linger was always awakened by nightmares, and she was covered in cold sweat after waking up. Senior brother Zhang, Linger misses you so much. After Shangguan Linger was awakened by the nightmare again, she walked to the window alone and looked at the scenery outside the window. Behind her room is a steep cliff. The scenery outside is shrouded in a faint spiritual mist, and only the nearby mountain peaks can barely see the outline. Such a scene is inexplicably peaceful. Junior sister, are you there? Outside the room, a familiar voice suddenly sounded. Senior sister, I'm here, Shangguan Linger said after recovering. The door is unlocked, you can come in directly. Squeak. The door was pushed open, and senior sister Zhou Ruoxi walked in. She saw Shangguan Linger standing by the window with a distressed look on her face. Junior sister, do you still have nightmares in the past 2 days? Zhou Ruoxi had long heard that Shangguan Linger would have nightmares at night, but she had no other good way except to comfort her. Shangguan Linger lied and said, Senior sister, don't worry, I don't have nightmares anymore. By the way, how is senior brother Luo Tian? Zhou Ruoxi hesitated for a moment, but still told the truth. He was imprisoned in the dungeon of the law enforcement hall, and he might never have a chance to come out for the rest of his life. To be honest, she is quite satisfied with the result. As a disciple of Daotian sword sect, Luo Tian actually secretly practiced the evil dual cultivation method of Tianian blood fiend kung fu, and almost killed Linger junior sister. No matter how severe the punishment is, it should be done. That's it. Shangguan Linger didn't express anything, her expression was very cold. From the moment Luo Tian made a move on her, she couldn't feel any sympathy for this senior brother. Don't talk about this, junior sister, how is your cultivation? Seeing Shangguan Linger's bad mood, Zhou Ruoxi quickly changed the subject. Senior sister, my cultivation base has already established the foundation of the 9th heaven. Shangguan Linger responded. However, if you want to break through the alchemy stage, you probably won't be able to do it before the Daotian secret realm opens. Okay, but don't put too much pressure on you, your body is important. Zhou Ruoxi comforted her. Well, thank you, sister. Shangguan Linger forced a smile. She still felt that she had failed the expectations of her master and senior sister, so she blamed herself very much. Daotian secret realm is a very suitable place for monks in the alchemy stage to practice. Only monks in the alchemy stage can enter smoothly. Shangguan Linger missed it this time, and it will take another 10 years before the next secret realm is opened, which is really a pity. Don't force yourself, take a good rest. Ah, Zhou Ruoxi was just about to leave. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from outside the door. Junior sister Linger, are you in the room? This voice, with a special magnetism, sounds like spring breeze. Senior sister, listen, it's brother Zhang Feng's voice. Shangguan Linger's dim eyes suddenly brightened. She really missed Zhang Feng so much. Before Zhou Ruoxi could say anything, the girl continued, I'll open the door. Pat. After Shangguan Linger opened the door, it was Zhang Feng who appeared in front of him. She couldn't help but threw herself into Zhang Feng's arms. "Brother, Ling misses you so much." As soon as Zhang Feng entered the door, he was shocked by a petite figure and his body froze. Seeing that it was Shangguan Linger, a soft look appeared in his eyes. "Junior sister Linger, brother misses you too." These words were naturally sincere. Shangguan Linger was treated as his own sister by him, and of course he would miss such an obedient sister. "Great, I knew it." After Shangguan Linger heard Zhang Feng's words, her two little hands hugged even tighter. However, Zhang Feng saw Zhou Ruoxi in the room, looking at him thoughtfully. He felt a little guilty. "Ahem, senior sister Zhou, things are not what you think." At this time, Shangguan Linger also remembered that the senior sister was still in her room, so she quickly let go of Zhang Feng. Seeing this scene by the senior sister, she was still very shy. However, Zhou Ruoxi did not stop anything, but was very understanding. "Junior brother Zhang, you don't have to explain anything to me. I only know that you have no malice towards Linger, and you have never forced her to do anything, and you even saved her when she was in danger. Thank you for what happened last time." Zhang Feng didn't expect Zhou Ruoxi to be so talkative now, but he remembered that Zhou Ruoxi told him not to approach Shangguan Linger the last time we met. "Senior sister Zhou is serious. Linger is just like my younger sister. Of course I can't ignore her accident. You are a good person." Zhou Ruoxi looked at Zhang Feng, and suddenly said something like this. "System. Ding. Add 1 card to the good guy. Zhang Feng. By the way, junior brother Zhang, did you come to Linger this time for something?" Zhou Ruoxi naturally didn't know what Zhang Feng was thinking. She was even more curious about what Zhang Feng was doing when he came to Shangguan Linger. Although she knew Zhang Feng's character, she was still worried that Zhang Feng would do something out of the ordinary. "After all, junior sister Linger looks too young. I'm here this time to deliver pills." "Pill, that's right, a spirit gathering pill should be able to help junior sister Linger break through the realm of pill formation." Zhang Feng didn't hide it either. He directly took out the other spirit gathering pill, and handed it to Shangguan Linger, who was still a little dazed. The Ju Ling pill for the 2 junior sisters was naturally prepared by him long ago. "Junior brother Zhang, this is too precious." When Zhou Ruoxi saw Juling pill, her beautiful face showed surprise. A spirit gathering pill requires at least contribution points to be exchanged, and it is also one of the pills that is extremely difficult to get in the pill pavilion. The reason why Zhang Feng had 2 spirit gathering pills was given to him by an elder of the pill pavilion when he was in Zhanjiang. Originally, the elder Dang only wanted to give 1. In the end, under Zhang Feng's good words and persuasion, he endured the pain and gave him 2, and now he used them all as gifts for his junior sister. "Junior sister Linger, this is the wish of the senior brother, please accept it." "Well, thank you, brother." Shangguan Linger knew very well that even if he didn't accept it, Zhang Feng would force it to her. Therefore, without much hesitation, she accepted the gathering spirit pill. Anyway, it was given by her future husband, so of course she will accept it. Shangguan Linger thought happily in her heart. Even the fatigue caused by nightmares for many days has been washed away a lot. Ding! It is detected that the host gave Shangguan Linger a Juling pill. Will it be returned by a critical hit? Crit return. Congratulations to the host for triggering times the crit reward. Get the 7th order top grade pill Chenkin G pill. Chenkin G pill. For the state of enlightenment, there is a special bonus, which can make it easier for people to enter the state of deep enlightenment, 100% enlightenment. This is good stuff. When Zhang Feng heard this name, he felt as refreshed as if he had been in a sauna. Although this Chenkin ultimate intent pill cannot increase his cultivation, it can make him 100% enlightened. You know, this is a fantasy world. Enlightenment is definitely the fastest way for a cultivator, especially a sword cultivator, to improve his strength. I have already integrated Daoshan swordsmanship and Taishuan swordsmanship before. After taking this Chenkin ultimate intention pill, I can also integrate Juyu swordsmanship into it. Zhang Feng thought happily in his heart. The fusion of swordsmanship is not as simple as 1 + 1, but more and more powerful. At the moment, after Zhang Feng delivered the pill, he planned to leave. Seeing that Zhou Ruoxi seemed to have something to say to him, he couldn't help but wonder what this iceberg-like beauty wanted to say. Senior Sister Joe, if you have anything to say, just say it. Seeing that Zhou Ruoxi couldn't speak for a long time, Zhang Feng had no choice but to speak directly. Yes, Senior Sister, anyway, Senior Brother Zhang Feng is here, so you can talk to him yourself. Shangguan Linger also urged beside him. I heard the two say that. Zhou Ruoxi seemed to have made up her mind, but she still said awkwardly, Junior Brother Zhang Feng, can you also give me a sailor uniform? Zhang Feng was a little dazed, he wondered if he heard it wrong. What did you say? I say. Zhou Ruoxi summoned up her courage and repeated it again. Junior Brother Zhang, can you give me one of the sailor uniforms you gave to Junior Sister Linger? Immediately afterwards, she added, of course, I won't ask you for nothing. If Junior Brother Zhang has any requirements, just ask for it. Is it possible to ask for anything? Zhang Feng subconsciously looked at Zhou Ruoxi. A face like a fairy and a figure like a devil are definitely what all men dream of, even not much worse than that demon girl from the Heihuan sect. Noticing that Zhang Feng was looking at herself, Zhou Ruoxi was a little ashamed. But after all, there are demands from others, so I didn't get angry. I just reminded, Junior Brother Zhang, if you want me to do something unethical, then forget it. Shangguan Linger on the side was a little angry and stomped his feet. Senior Sister, what are you talking about? Senior Brother Zhang Feng, how could he be the kind of villain who thinks with his lower body? Cough cough. Zhang Feng coughed twice to hide his embarrassment. Senior Sister Zhou, Linger is right, do you think I, Zhang Feng, look like that kind of person? Zhou Ruoxi took a careful look at Zhang Feng, with a gentle smile on his handsome face. Finally, she shook her head slightly and said, it's really not like it. That's it, Senior Sister Zhou, don't worry, it's just a piece of clothing, I promise to take care of it, but before that, can I ask Senior Sister your size? Zhang Feng assured lightly, still need a size. Zhou Ruoxi blushed slightly, but she still reported her measurements one by one. Although it was a bit shameful to report her measurements to a man, she really liked sailor suits. After hearing Zhou Ruoxi's size, Zhang Feng subconsciously glanced at the fullness of her chest. Sure enough, what the eyes see is just an illusion. Okay, then I will take my leave. After noting down the size, Zhang Feng got up and left. Brother Zhang, goodbye. Walk slowly. After leaving Cayenne Peak, Zhang Feng returned directly to Zizhu Peak. This time, he finally successfully entered the master's cave, and the thin membrane no longer hindered his steps. When he first entered the cave, it was still a little narrow, but not long after, he came to a more open place, and suddenly it opened up. In the middle of the empty cave, there is a big bed at least 10 meters long. And on this big bed, the young girl who looked no more than years old seemed to have just woken up. She was only wearing a thin pajamas, and her fair skin was seen through the clothes. The looming curve is particularly eye-catching. Her jet black hair was disheveled, and her watery eyes were full of confusion. She looked like a young girl who had just woken up from sleep. Zhang Feng just glanced at it, then turned around immediately. Master, you should get dressed first. Faced with such an undefended beauty, as long as he is a man, he can't help it. However, Zhang Feng had no choice but to hold back. Because this is his master Ji Ziyu, a strong man in the tribulation stage, who can kill his existence with a single slap. Ji Ziyu heard Zhang Feng's words. There was a bit of doubt on the exquisite face, and then he looked down at the body, and then his face turned red, and his apprentice saw him wearing pajamas. Great. However, she still pretended to be calm. Teacher, the body is just a skin, it's really nothing to see. As Ji Ziyu spoke, her voice became lower and lower. It is definitely related. She can feel. His cheeks were hot red. Is this what you call being shy? According to common sense, as a woman in the Transcendence Tribulation period, she would never have such big mood swings, which is a big taboo for immortal cultivators. You go out first. Afraid that Zhang Feng would turn around suddenly, Ji Ziyu directly used her spiritual power to drive Zhang Feng out. Zhang Feng, who was a little confused, only felt a strong push from behind, and then he flew out of the cave and returned to the outside world. Couldn't Master be angry? Zhang Feng felt a little uneasy. He was wrong too. When I went in just now, I obviously announced it. In the end, Ji Ziyu was not ready, and forced him to come out again. Who should I ask for reason? Fortunately, not long after, Ji Ziyu let Zhongfeng in again. Seeing Ji Ziyu again. At this time, the young girl had already put on the blue short skirt, and she was much more noble and elegant, but the faint blush on her face told her that her heart was not at peace. Teacher, what do you want me to do? Ji Ziyu looked at Zhongfeng with a slightly unnatural expression in her clear and bright eyes, but she still tried her best to maintain her dignity as a master. Zhongfeng didn't notice this, he just gritted his teeth and took the two things that the system had obtained from the previous critical strike. All were taken out: wide sleeve flow fairy skirt, 9 phoenix red gold flowing cloud hairpin. Seeing these two items, Ji Ziyu lost her composure instantly. She must have used both the skirt in Zhongfeng's hand and the hairpin. It's just that she can't remember when she used it, it's like a piece of memory is missing, so she can't recall it anyway. Master, this wide-sleeved flowing fairy dress and the 9 phoenix red gold flowing cloud hairpin are all obtained by me by chance, and I specially sent them to you today, Master. Zhongfeng became bolder. Seeing Ji Ziyu's appearance, he knew that his personal safety was at least safe. The sending of these two items was naturally not for the return of critical strikes. He had known for a long time that there was no way to return the items returned by critical strikes. Zhongfeng's purpose was to see if he could improve his favorability. Suddenly, a strong suction came. When Zhongfeng came back to his senses, he found that he had been pinned down by Ji Ziyu. Ji Ziyu rode on Zhongfeng. The pose is very indecent. When she herself realized this, one jade hand was already on Zhongfeng's chest, and the other hand was grabbing the wide-sleeved flowing fairy dress. Ji Ziyu herself couldn't figure out why she did this, she just felt that there seemed to be a resentment in her heart, so she did it subconsciously. However, Tuer's pectoral muscles are a bit hard. This was the first thought that came to Ji Ziyu's mind. Soon, her second thought gradually surfaced. Why does this seat feel a little familiar in this scene? Who cares? Ji Ziyu stared coldly at Zhongfeng below her, her expression turned cold all of a sudden. Tell me, where did you get this dress? Zhongfeng, who was crushed under him, did not change his expression as Mount Tai collapsed in front of him. Master, I got this dress from a shop called Heaven and Earth. What shop can sell such a high-level lingbao? Ji Ziyu naturally didn't believe it. She knew very well that the wide-sleeved flowing fairy skirt in her hand could at least withstand the attacks of monks in the Transcendence Tribulation period. Which shop would be so stupid as to sell it? What's more, when such a spirit treasure comes out, I don't know how many bloody storms it will cause. This. Great. Zhongfeng just told a lie out of desperation, but he was caught right away. He just wanted to find another reason. Suddenly, Ji Ziyu's expression seemed to be a little painful, and she seemed to be remembering something. Her bright eyes were fixed on the clothes in her hand. Zhongfeng didn't dare to move. He could feel that the spiritual power around him seemed to be rioting. At the same time, the figure of the little fox appeared outside Ji Ziyu's cave. During the time Zhongfeng left, it didn't stay in the room all the time, but walked around on Zijufeng, enjoying the comfortable life of a fox. With its wisdom, it naturally knows that there must be many dangers outside. But Zijufeng still has a place the little fox has never entered, and that place is the master's cave. Every time I come, it is blocked by a thin film. Today the little fox came to the gate of the cave again. It is very curious what the master's master looks like. But this time, it actually successfully entered the cave, without being blocked by that layer of membrane. Just take a look. Thinking so in his heart, the little fox entered the cave with gentle steps, and arrived at an empty place not long after. Then, it saw the master it was thinking of, pressed on the bed by a fairy-like sister. Little fox. This elder sister is the master's master, right? How could she do this? So bad. The little fox's two paws tightly covered his eyes, but the gap was still exposed. Covered, but not completely covered. At this time, it took a few steps forward, wanting to see more clearly. He accidentally kicked a stone. Clap. Zhongfeng on the bed, and Ji Ziyu's eyes all cast their gazes over at the same time. Squeak. I don't see anything. The little fox was so frightened that his hair exploded all over, and he ran out of the cave in a hurry, but when he fled, he still looked back with some nostalgia. When will it be able to press the master on the bed like the master's master? The screen turns. After Ji Ziyu pressed Zhang Feng on the bed, she only felt that something flashed in her mind, but she didn't seem to remember anything. An empty void, until there was movement at the door. It's the nine-tailed celestial fox. How about eating roast fox tonight? But the fox's meat doesn't seem to be tasty, and this fox is still Zhang Feng's spiritual pet, so forget it. Back. Ji Ziyu and Zhang Feng just stared at each other, and the atmosphere seemed a little awkward. Zhang Feng only felt that the power in Master's hand seemed to have become lighter, as light as nothing, pressing on him like an ordinary mortal woman. After feeling the strength become lighter, Zhang Feng made a very bold move. He stretched out his hand, grabbed Ji Ziyu's shoulder, then turned over and pushed her back under him. Ji Ziyu let out a squeak from the impact. She hadn't realized what Zhang Feng had done to herself. By the time she realized it, her eyes had become extraordinarily indifferent, and a supreme aura burst out from her petite body. It's the opposite. The Daoshan rebellious apprentice rushed to the master. Seeing Ji Ziyu's cold eyes, Zhang Feng immediately understood what he had done. It's over. Barbecue. Why can't you control these hands? Zhang Feng's heart was ashamed. He might be slapped to death by Ji Ziyu in the next second, right? However, after waiting for a long time, Ji Ziyu did not shoot him to death. Have you had enough? Ji Ziyu's frosty voice broke the silence. Zhang Feng replied subconsciously, that's enough. Why don't you go down soon? Seeing that Ji Ziyu had no intention of punishing him, Zhang Feng was overjoyed. After getting off Ji Ziyu, Zhang Feng felt as if he had passed away, and his back was wet with cold sweat. Riding on Ji Ziyu was probably the most deadly thing he had ever done in his life. Now he is still alive and well, which is definitely a very lucky thing. If it was in the game, he would have died long ago. However, why didn't Ji Ziyu kill him? Could it be because of that wide-sleeved fairy dress? Zhang Feng wanted to slip away, but he felt that if he continued to stay, his life would be lost. Master, I'll go first. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Ji Ziyu. You just left. Zhang Feng. Master, this disciple was just momentarily confused. Please punish me, Master. I can forget about what happened just now, but you have to do me a favor. The corners of Ji Ziyu's mouth lifted slightly, revealing a slightly weird smile, like a girl next door who was plotting some kind of conspiracy. Sure enough, he still can't escape punishment. Zhang Feng smiled wryly in his heart. However, when Ji Ziyu said what he wanted to do, Zhang Feng was stunned. 2 days later, Daoshan Secret Realm, I want you to go to the Secret Realm to get something out. That thing is a magic weapon I left in the Secret Realm. Master, just leave it to me. Zhang Feng nodded and agreed without hesitation. He didn't know what method Ji Ziyu would use to torture him if he didn't agree. After all, he just did something like a jockey's contemptuous ancestor. In that case, please listen to me in detail. A quarter of an hour later, Zhang Feng left Ji Ziyu's cave with a dazed expression, his legs feeling weak. Sure enough, Master, she didn't intend to let herself go at all, did she? The mission Ji Ziyu entrusted to him was actually to enter the Bloody Mist battlefield in the top 10 dangerous places in the Secret Realm, and retrieve the fairy artifact left by her in her previous life, Mie Chen in the box. As long as it can be done, this time the jockey Mie Zhu will pass. But things are not that simple. They are the top 10 dangerous places in Daoshan's Secret Realm. Zhang Feng felt that the way forward was a bit lost. Great Xia Dynasty. There are many sects. Among them, there are both righteous sects and demonic sects. The Orthodox sect can be divided into 3 sects and 6 sects, namely, the upper 3 sects, Daoshan Sword Sect, Watching Sect, and Liu Sect. The 6 sects include Tianan Valley, Xiaoyao Palace, Heavy Sword Gate, Shanjian Pavilion, Longdong School, Fenyan Valley, and Elephant Armor School. The demonic sects are the 4 demon sects of Heihuan Sect, Yin Puppet Sect, Blood Evil Sect, and True God Sect. The southern border of the Great Xia Dynasty. The Heihuan Sect, one of the 4 major demon sects, is located on a spiritual mountain. For thousands of years, it has been peaceful with the imperial court. In the towns under the mountain, most of them use brothel maikos to collect money and pay taxes according to regulations. As long as the female cultivators of the Heihuan sect don't do anything that hurts people's lives, the imperial court will generally not intervene. Therefore, the development of the Heihuan sect has always been good. Especially in the last few hundred years, Yan Dijiao, the new suzerain of the Heihuan sect, has improved the double cultivation skills of the past dynasties on the basis of her predecessors, and created the unique skill of drawing water by the dragon. It also brings faster cultivation speed and better experience to the majority of female cultivators. There is also a rumor that Yan Dijiao, who created the dragon drawing water technique, still maintains a perfect body until now. Such rumors are very popular among storytellers, and it is difficult to tell the truth from the fake. At this time, inside the gate of Heihuan sect, in a very spacious room, a woman was sitting on the main seat. Her willow eyebrows were slightly frowned. The woman has an alluring face. Dan lips are small, agar nose is condensed, and a pair of beautiful light red eyes are like flames. People want to get close, but worry about being burned by the fire. Its natural sense of nobility makes people feel inferior just by looking at it, but the fiery figure is extremely eye-catching. Few people know that this glamorous existence is none other than Yan Dijiao, the patriarch of the Heihuan sect. She looks only about 20 years old, which is the most beautiful age for a woman. Below the main seat, an old woman over 60 years old was kneeling on the ground tremblingly with her back bent. He didn't dare to raise his head at all. "Du-Ru, I trust you to give you the sacred relic of the sect," Yan Dijiao said with a bit of resentment, "and you lost the sacred objects of the sect, so let's talk about it." Hear the suzerain's inquiry. Du-Ru, who was kneeling on the ground, raised her head and said with tears in her eyes, "Sect master, I am indeed at fault. It's just that people from the imperial court intervened, so I accidentally lost the sacred object." What? People from the imperial court actually intervened? On Yan Dijiao's delicate cheeks, there was a look of surprise, but it disappeared in just a moment. Du-Ru didn't dare to hide anything, and told the whole story. "I tell the suzerain, the powerful effect of the sacred object has greatly increased the effect of drawing water for us girls in heaven and earth, and many mortal men have been sucked dry of their young energy. The imperial court noticed it very quickly, and then sent His Royal Highness Shang Wang, who specially restrained me, and invited several monks from the Orthodox sect. One of them stole the holy object quietly when I was confronting His Royal Highness King Shang." After saying this, Du-Ru's head drooped even more. For this incident, she absolutely has an inescapable responsibility. Sure enough, Yan Dijiao sneered and said, "Du-Ru, if I'm not wrong, you used this time to find a good-looking male cultivator for Xuanxuan, right? All the faults are my fault, I hope the suzerain will punish me." Yan Dijiao fell silent. Her pale red eyes were as calm as water, making it impossible to see what she was thinking. After a long time, Yan Dijiao sighed lightly and said, "The guy who stole the sacred objects of the sect, do you have his portrait?" "Yes, of course. Please take a look at the suzerain." Du-Ru knew that this hurdle should be over. Hastily took out the portrait rubbed from Lu Xuanxuan, and carefully handed it to Yan Dijiao, for fear that the portrait would fly away suddenly. After Yan Dijiao took the portrait, some looked casually, and then were slightly taken aback. The face of the man in the painting is too handsome, almost like a reincarnation of a fairy. It is impossible to move his eyes away, and his heart sinks deeply into it. Does such a beautiful man really exist in the world? Du-Ru, are you sure that the person in the painting is the one who stole the sacred object? Yan Dai asked suspiciously. After all, the man in the painting is too perfect. If it really existed, she seriously suspected that she would not be able to hold it back, and would use all the power of the clan to snatch it back, and then accept it as the wife of the sect. "Sovereign, I am absolutely not lying. The man in this painting was rubbed from the saint's memory, please check it out, suzerain." Yan Dijiao was overjoyed, but on the surface, it still looks glamorous. "Then, what sect does this person come from? Have you investigated it clearly?" "This, what?" Yan Dijiao raised her brows. "Can't we tell his identity?" Du-Ru secretly groaned in Yan Dijiao's questioning, but she still replied truthfully, "Sovereign, this person's identity, I will naturally investigate clearly. Daotian Sword Sect, Zhongfeng." "Zhongfeng," Yan Dijiao whispered softly. She felt as if she had heard of this name somewhere. "However, I can't remember it at all." Seeing that her suzerain couldn't remember, Du-Ru immediately reminded, Master Suzerain, this Zhang Feng, he is a disciple of Ziyu, Zizhu Fengji of Daotian Sword Sect. Ji Ziyu, is that her? Yan Dijiao's fiery heart was extinguished in an instant. If Zhang Feng is really Ji Ziyu's disciple, then don't even think about trying to get him. Even if the whole sect gets involved, he won't be able to move him. Du Ru still knelt on the ground. However, he always felt that the air around him seemed to be much colder. After a long time, Yan Dijiao's voice came from above the main seat. Forget it, I will figure out a solution for the sacred object, but if you lose the sacred object this time, you will be punished to stay by the saint's side until this seat refines a new sacred object. Sect Master is wise. Du Ru heaved a sigh of relief and asked her to stay beside Lu Xuanxuan, never leaving her. This punishment was almost nothing to her. Well, you go down first. Yes, and many more. Just as Du Ru was about to leave the room, she was suddenly stopped again. When she turned around, the cold sweat on her back wet her clothes in an instant, and her heart beat a beat slower. She was almost fainted from the fright. Unexpectedly, Yan Dijiao said, "Is there still a portrait of Zhang Feng?" Du Ru, Daotian Sword Sect, Purple Bamboo Peak. In another day, the secret realm will open. At that time, righteous monks will join this grand event, and Zhang Feng will also stay quietly in his room. Improve your strength as much as possible. At this time, what he was holding in his hand was the Qingshan pill that was returned from a critical strike. Just as he was about to take the elixir, he felt a little chill on his body, as if he was being watched by someone. No, I won't be attracted by another female cultivator, right? Zhang Feng frowned. Somehow, he felt that things were not simple. The northern border of the Great Xia dynasty. Li Yizong. Most of the monks in this sect are female cultivators, and all of them are fair-skinned and beautiful. Being able to stand out among countless sects and become one of the three major sects, and no one dares to provoke them, there are naturally not a few powerful monks in the sect. The suzerain, Mirong Yuchen, even became a strong man in the tribulation period early on. You know, all the strongmen in the transcending tribulation period of the Great Xia dynasty can be counted on one hand. At this time, on a high mountain, pavilions, terraces and pavilions are dotted around the mountain peak, carved with jade columns, and the thin spiritual mist surrounds the mountain peak. The scenery is very magnificent and charming. A beautiful figure was standing in the long corridor, reading the letter in her hand, with a tangled look in her eyes. This letter was sent from home. The content inside is to let her use any means to obliterate her cousin Yi Yaoer in the Daotian secret realm, and eradicate the hidden dangers of the Yi family. What am I supposed to do? Yi Lingshan muttered to herself, with a bit of pain in her clear eyes. Obviously she didn't want to do anything to Yi Yaoer. It's just that Yi Qingtian wrote the letter herself, and she never meant to disobey her grandfather. Even when she watched Yi Qingtian take away Yi Yaoer's fairy root and put it into her body, she didn't say anything. When Yi Lingshan was struggling alone, a more mature and graceful figure walked over slowly at this moment, and saw her frowning expression at a glance. My little Lingshan, what's going on today? The person who came was a woman in her early 20s, with a plump figure, clean and refined, and her skin was as white and delicate as suet jade, with a crystal luster. 3,000 blue silks hang down, and a blue dress is quiet and elegant. The beautiful woman in front of her is the suzerain of Liu sect, Mirong Yuchen, a strong man in the tribulation stage, and also Yi Lingshan's master. Master, Yi Lingshan's words came to her lips, but she couldn't utter them. Because she knew that her fairy root was not her own, but got it from her cousin Yi Yaoer. Yi Lingshan couldn't imagine how disappointed her master, who has always loved her, would look at her when he knew the truth. Mirong Yuchen naturally felt very distressed when she saw her apprentice so entangled. Let my master guess, is there something wrong with you? Because of this letter? Yi Lingshan was startled, then nodded slightly. Seeing her precious disciple nodding in recognition, Mirong Yuchen suddenly thought of something, put her hands on Yi Lingshan's shoulders, and looked very serious. Lingshan, tell me, did your family make a marriage contract for you, and then let you marry a brat who doesn't know where he came from? If this is really the case, then I will make the decision for you as a teacher. Yi Lingshan was dumbfounded. What is master thinking? It's not like she can't get married, so how could she be urged to marry by her family? So she shook her head, saying that her family didn't make any marriage contract for her, but she didn't dare to say anything about Yi Yaoer. Murong Yuchen frowned. As a strong person in the tribulation period, she can naturally see that her precious apprentice doesn't want to tell the things hidden in her heart. Lingshan, if you don't want to say it, the teacher will not force you. However, if you really encounter any problems, you will be suffocated if you keep holding it in your heart like this, you know. Seeing that master cares about me so much. Yi Lingshan hesitated for a moment, and said hesitantly, Master, if I have to hurt someone close to me, and that person has done nothing wrong, what should I do? Of course not. Yi Lingshan just finished speaking. Murong Yuchen interrupted her directly. From Yi Lingshan's words, she had roughly guessed the content of the letter, which was definitely to ask her precious apprentice to kill someone who didn't want to kill. And that person is absolutely innocent. Lingshan, although we monks have to compete with the sky and people. However, we must not do things that go against our heart. Otherwise, even if you have a glazed fairy body and a rare fairy root, you will probably breed inner demons. Hearing master's words, Yi Lingshan broke out in a cold sweat. Yeah, how could she hurt her cousin again? This time, she won't listen to grandpa anymore. Thinking of this, Yi Lingshan's eyes glowed, the tangled expression just now disappeared completely, and her whole person became a lot more sunny. With a sweet smile, she said, Lingshan understands, I will follow master's instruction. Yes, this is my precious apprentice. Tomorrow's Daotian secret realm, work hard, I will take good care of you as a teacher. Seeing his disciple recovering his vitality, Murong Yuchen, the master, showed a smile on his face, and gently stroked Yi Lingshan's hair. Yi Lingshan's brows and eyes moved slightly, and a warm current surged in her heart. Master, I will definitely not disappoint your expectations. Host, are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I'm pretty sure. All right, in a room in Zizhu Peak. Zhang Feng's aura has suddenly reached the realm of the 9th heavenly layer of alchemy formation, and he is only one step away from entering the nascent soul stage. However, Zhang Feng asked the system to help suppress his cultivation. Because once you break through nascent soul, you are not eligible to enter the Daotian secret realm. In this way, there will be no problem. Zhang Feng thought to himself. Today is the day when the Daotian secret realm is opened. After he swallowed the Qingshan Dan and Chenkinji Dan returned from the previous crit, not only his cultivation level has been promoted to the peak of the alchemy period. The fused sword intent also changed from 2 types to 3 types, greatly increasing its power. Even against the monks who have just entered the nascent soul stage, he has a great chance of winning the battle, not to mention that all the monks who enter the secret realm are monks in the realm of alchemy. It's just that Zhang Feng, who is familiar with the plot of the game, knows that this trip to the secret realm will definitely involve people from the demon cult. Moreover, after the disciples of the Orthodox sect entered the Daotian secret realm, they sneaked in from the other side of the secret realm, without being discovered by the 3 major sects. Of course, he didn't know whether Master Jiziyu had discovered it or not. But even if she found out, she probably wouldn't bother to care about it. Of course, if Zhang Feng wanted to, he could break through to the nascent soul stage at any time. Broken Rainbow. Zhang Feng gave a soft drink, and a rusty dark red long sword appeared in his hand. From the looks of it, it looks like curbside trash. However, under this unpretentious appearance, there is actually a scarlet red sword body. It's just that he doesn't know how to make the sword regain its former glory. When you enter the secret realm, use this broken rainbow sword. It's good to give Yuro the eternal flame blue spirit sword. A smile appeared on Zhang Feng's face. What Zhang Feng didn't know was, the smile he showed inadvertently fell into the eyes of the little fox next to him, but it was like turning on a beauty camera. Extraordinarily dazzling. Master, he is so handsome. I really like. He. Boom boom boom. Just as Zhang Feng put away the broken rainbow sword, there was a knock on the door outside. Brother, are you awake? If you don't hurry up, we'll be late. After the knock on the door, came the voices of the junior sisters. The melodious voices were like larks, which made Zhang Feng feel good for a while. He touched the little fox's head, and said softly, be good and wait for me at home. When I get back the heart of the demon emperor, you can transform. Squeak. Okay, master. Although the little fox didn't know what the demon emperor's heart Zhang Feng was talking about, when he heard that it could transform into form, he immediately wagged his tail excitedly. Brother, if you don't open the door, we will come in. Coming. He got up and went to the door, and opened the door. It was indeed his two junior sisters, Xiao Yuro and Yi Yaoer, who came into view. As soon as Yi Yaoer saw Zhang Feng, she couldn't wait to hold his hand. While pulling hard, he said rather complainingly, Brother, master, she has already gone to the main peak, let's hurry there too. If it wasn't for waiting for you, second senior sister and I would have arrived long ago. Zhang Feng was a little dumbfounded. Would his cheap master, Ji Ziyu, really work so hard to rush to the main peak early in the morning? Anyway, he didn't believe it. It is very possible that the figure rushing to the main peak is just Ji Ziyu's clone, her body is still sleeping in the cave. Of course, he would not say such words in front of his junior sisters. After all, Ji Ziyu was a strong man in the transcending tribulation period. If she accidentally overheard her, her life might be lost. Quote. Master, brother, let's hurry up too. Seeing that Zhang Feng was not in a hurry, Xiao Yuro, who was on the side, also said eagerly. When she met Zhang Feng just now, because of the kiss with Zhang Feng 2 days ago, her face was slightly red, her eyes were a little dodged, and she felt like she had been found out for doing something wrong. But after adjusting her mentality, she immediately realized that it was impossible for her to continue like this. Third junior sister also likes senior brother. If in the end, the senior brother chose to be with the third junior sister, he would have nowhere to cry. Think about this. Xiao Yuro also took a step forward, and then hugged Zhang Feng's other arm, and Shuangfeng also stepped in without hesitation, with a sweet smile on the corner of her mouth. Hee, brother, let's go. It is good. Zhang Feng glanced out of the corner of his eye, and looked at the white snow on Xiao Yuro's chest calmly. I secretly sighed in my heart. Junior sister, she has grown up. The other side, seeing Xiao Yuro use the same trick as last time, Yi Yaoer's lungs almost exploded. Senior sister, why does she only know how to use this method? Why didn't I? Whoa, Zhang Feng naturally didn't know what the two junior sisters were thinking. After lamenting Xiao Yuro's growth, he took out a third-order flying boat from the space ring, which could just accommodate the three of them. This third-order flying boat was naturally exchanged by Zhang Feng on purpose. The purpose is to keep a low profile during this trip to the secret realm. Only, Zhang Feng glanced left and right, and the two lovely and beautiful junior sisters around him shook their heads and smiled wryly. He wanted to keep a low profile, but he couldn't seem to do it. The main peak of Dao Tianjian sect. More than half of the entire sect gathered in the square of the main peak. Among them, there are many elders who are rare to see on weekdays, as well as sect Tianzhao. In order to personally watch this trip to the Daotian secret realm, the retreating elders and sect arrogances also ended the retreat ahead of schedule and rushed to the main peak. At this time, on the square, many inner disciples were whispering to each other. 10 years have passed in a blink of an eye. This time, there should be many Tianzhao rising in the Daotian secret realm. A male disciple wearing a blue robe with a heroic face said with emotion. Obviously, he experienced the last trip to Daotian secret realm. Senior brother, I see your sword eyebrows and star eyes, you should be one of the arrogants of the last trip to the secret realm, right? Several disciples next to him saw the inner disciple sighing, and they all came over to ask, with curious expressions in their eyes. That's it. This inner disciple smiled lightly, with an inscrutable look on his face. The few disciples who came over couldn't tell the truth from the fake for a while, and they were all coaxed by his appearance. Don't listen to his nonsense, this guy's name is Shen Dao. Last time he went to Daotian secret realm, he stayed in one place until the end of a month. A middle-aged man who looked like a middle-aged man dressed in an elder's robe ruthlessly opened the door. The few disciples just now realized it in an instant, almost wanting to exhale fragrance. I really believe it. It turns out that he is a person who deceives the world and steals his name, what a bad luck. Several disciples gave Shen Dao a vicious look, and left one after another. Master, why do you always expose me? With a bitter face, Shen Dao looked at the middle-aged man who came over with a bit of resentment in his eyes. This man is exactly his master, Situ Yu, who is an elder, and his status is definitely not low in the entire Daotian sword sect. Seeing his apprentice like this, Satu couldn't help but get angry. You really want to die of anger before you will give up as a teacher. Forget it, as a teacher this time, I still want to tell you that during this trip to the secret realm, you must remember to follow that Zhongfeng from Zijufeng. Who is Zhongfeng? Shen Dao blinked his eyes a few times, and asked in confusion. Satu caressed his forehead and rubbed the center of his brows. Teacher, you don't even know who Zhongfeng is. Are you really in the sect during this time? You know, recently, Zhongfeng can be said to be the most showy person in the entire Daotian Sword sect. And none of them. Shen Dao explained with a bitter face. Master, this disciple has been in retreat these days, so I don't know anything about what happened outside. Satu looked at the apprentice in front of him. The more he looked, the more dissatisfied he became. Zhongfeng is much better than his apprentice. Why did he accept this guy as his apprentice? That's all. Let me tell you as a teacher, what your brother Zhong has done these days. After a while, after hearing about Zhongfeng's deeds from his master, Shen Dao felt his scalp go numb. This junior brother Zhongfeng is too fierce. As soon as he broke through to the alchemy stage, he defeated senior brother Wang Tengji with a 40-meter Daotian sword energy. You know, that is the proud student of Peak Master Zhao Wuliang. Afterwards, Zhongfeng took on another mission from the Heihuan sect, to go deep into the tiger's den to destroy the Lingbao, and then retreated completely. Even 2 days ago, I got the spiritual sword from the founder of Daotian Sword sect to recognize the master. With such a thigh, he, Shen Dao, will hug it. Is that so, disciple? Do you understand what master means? Seeing Shen Dao's stunned look, Satu said with some amusement. Understood, master. I will definitely follow junior brother Zhongfeng on this trip to the secret realm. Joke. By the side of such a fierce man, even if he is serving food and pouring water, he, Shen Dao, is absolutely willing. So far, Shen Dao has strengthened his determination to hug his thigh. At the same time, in the sky, and Xiaoyu sat on her spirit sword, dangling her jade feet, and boredly glanced at Jizuyu's avatar beside her. Unhappiness was written in the clever eyes. A head of long silver hair, flowing down softly. It's fine if Sister Ziyu doesn't come, why didn't even Sister Ziyu's disciple come? And Xiaoyu complained in a low voice. She wanted to escape, but couldn't. As the suzerain of Daotian Sword sect, she not only bears the responsibility of opening the secret realm, but also needs to protect the safety of her disciples on the way back and forth. Ah! The childish voice spread far away. The peak masters and elders standing around with swords all shook their heads and smiled wryly when they heard this. Everyone is familiar with the suzerain's appearance. Ahem, my lord, pay attention to your manners. As an elder, Feng Qingyang was next to An Xiaoyu, preventing the suzerain from running away temporarily, so he coughed lightly to remind him. I know, and Xiaoyu responded casually. However, her posture has improved a lot. At this time, in the entire sect, the disciples in the alchemy realm, except those from Zizhu Peak, basically all came, and many people's eyes were cast on An Xiaoyu. Sect master, the only thing missing is those few disciples from Zizhu Peak. The elder who was in charge of counting the number said seriously and responsibly, his eyes were full of inquiries. This, and Xiaoyu glanced at Jizuyu's clone calmly, feeling a little helpless. If they don't hurry up, they will be late. Sovereign, we can't drag on any longer. Yes, sect master. The elders of the sect couldn't help persuading them. Although Zhongfeng has been in the limelight recently, he is only a disciple on one mountain after all. The entire Daotian Sword sect has 108 peaks. If time is delayed, their Daotian Sword sect will definitely be criticized by many people. Among these elders, Zhao Wuliang originally wanted to say something, but after glancing at Jizuyu's clone, he couldn't help feeling guilty, and finally said nothing. Isn't it just a little late? What is the relationship? That's Sister Ziyu's disciple, and Xiaoyu said to herself. Just as he was about to refute, the surrounding air was silent. Look, it's junior brother Zhongfeng from Zizhu Peak, he's here. It can be regarded as seeing a real person. I didn't expect this junior brother Zhongfeng to be so young. He really deserves to be a young man, a role model for us. I'll go, this Zhongfeng is too handsome. He's a million times more handsome than me. The one next to him is Xiao Yuro and Yi Yar's junior sister, right? It really is a stunning beauty in the world, which makes me envious. Quote. The disciples of Daotian Sword Sect all gave way to an open space after seeing Zhang Feng's flying boat appear to let the airship land on the ground. The female disciples of Daotian Sword Sect, after seeing Zhang Feng's peerless face, many of them looked like peach blossoms. Brother Zhang Feng, we love you. I haven't seen you for so long. Junior brother Zhang Feng seems to be handsome again. Who are those two women beside him? I feel like I can't compare to them. Junior brother Zhang, I want to give birth to a monkey for you. And not far away, seeing Zhang Feng appearing, Shengguan Linger excitedly held her senior sister's hand and said, Look, senior sister, senior brother Zhang Feng is here. Linger, girls should be more reserved. Zhou Ruoxi smiled when she saw her junior sister like this, and reminded her softly. Senior sister. Shengguan Linger took Zhou Ruoxi's hand and called out sweetly. How about we go to senior brother Zhang Feng? Zhou Ruoxi hesitated for a moment. There are already two junior sisters by Zhang Feng's side. If they rush over now, it may easily cause unnecessary misunderstandings, right? Sister, let's go. Shengguan Linger continued to shake Zhou Ruoxi's jade hand, begging coquettishly. It seems that if Zhou Ruoxi disagrees, she will keep shaking until she agrees. Zhou Ruoxi has a headache. If the master is here, will he agree to linger? However, she hadn't waited for her to come to a conclusion. Zhang Feng and his party came straight over. The screen turns. As soon as Zhang Feng got off the flying boat, he was shocked by the huge battle in the square. You know, there are tens of thousands of disciples and elders in the entire Daotian Sword Sect. And the looks of most of the disciples are definitely not bad. This put a lot of pressure on Zhang Feng. However, after getting off the flying boat, he found that everyone's eyes were on him, as if he was the most shining person here. It seems that my appearance is obvious to all in the entire sect. Zhang Feng felt a little helpless. And Xiao Yuro and Yi Yao next to him also followed Zhang Feng closely, looking around vigilantly. It was as if he was afraid that Zhang Feng would be snatched away by some woman suddenly. Zhang Feng was looking for a place to wait, when he suddenly saw the figures of Shengguan Linger and her senior sister Zhou Ruoxi, so he walked over without much hesitation. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.